Good morning, members, and a very warm welcome to all of you on this Saturday morning to our 17th VCM. I, Ritu Agarwal, Deputy Convenor, Bhayander CP Study Circle, welcomes you all on behalf of Bhayander CP Study Circle. Hope you all are good and doing well. As you all know, our today's topic is analysis of important judgment of Supreme Court, High Court and ITAT and recent judgments, amendments in e-assessment procedures and practice. So today we have with us Mr. R.K. Gupta ji, IRS ex-Director General of Income Tax, and our beloved CA Vishnu Agarwal ji, past Chairman WIRC. We welcome you, sir. To begin this session, I request Nikunj bhai to please share his thoughts and welcome our guests.
Thank you so much, Ritu madam. A very good morning again to all the members and all the dignitaries present today. It's an indeed honor to have R.K. Gupta ji, IRS ex-Director General of Income Tax, to be with us and share his views and knowledge with us. It is always a matter of privilege to have someone of this stature with us. And then the cherry on the cake, we have CA Vishnu Agarwal, past chairman of WIRC, and one of the most energetic professionals we have amongst us. And he will be sharing his knowledge and experience on various judgments by the Supreme Court, High Court, and all in his own unique style. So we are just waiting. And I hope all of you are keeping safe and are maintaining your health and the health of your near and dear ones, because the cases, of course, are rising and we need to be really careful about this aspect. Health is also something that we need to be concerned about, whether it is physical health or whether it is emotional health. As regards as the professional education goes, this is our 17th VCM during this lockdown. Just to update you, Gupta sir, Vishnu sir, this is our 17th VCM, and we have been trying to take various topics so that the knowledge updation doesn't stop. And although this COVID scenario has been one of the biggest pain for the whole humanity, but at least we can make out this opportunity of e-education and utilize it to the fullest potential. It is in the same vein that we have the seminar, this virtual CP meeting today. And without taking much of a time, I request Ritu madam to take the charge again with the proceedings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikunj bhai. We are delighted to have with us an elite personality from Income Tax Department, Shri R.K. Gupta sir. So without taking much of time, I request our coordinator CA Divya to give formal introduction of sir. Divya, over to you.
Thank you, Ritu ma'am. So I find immense pleasure in introducing our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri R.K. Gupta ji, IRS, ex-Director General of Income Tax. Sir has completed Bachelor of Engineering in 1979 and worked as lecturer for 2 years teaching engineering in Jaipur. Later, in 1983, Sir joined the Indian Revenue Service and posted in the various income tax departments at various cities throughout the nation. And in 2018, Sir got retired from Pune as Director General Investigation. Sir has experience in assessment, audit, investigation, TDS, ITAT appeal, etc. And Sir has significantly contributed in reducing the litigation while working in the CBDT Directorate of Legal and Research. Sir has also been part of more than 10 committees of CBDT as chairman or a member, helping in drafting the guidelines, instructions, notifications, etc. Sir in 2015 completed LLB and is currently practicing in Mumbai, handling cases relating to settlement and PMLA cases. We are really thankful to have you, sir. Thank you for taking out time of your busy schedule and enlightening all the members with your knowledge and thoughts. Over to you, sir.
Okay.
Well, I'll just begin sharing the presentation. Just give me a minute, sir.
Thank you, Divya, for the introduction to the members. And as these days, the in thing, whenever we talk amongst our professionals, the buzzword is faceless assessment, which is a new thing. So people are a bit confused, or they do not understand, I mean, what it is actually. And there is some fear of unknown. So that is why when Vishnu ji told me that some video conference meeting is to be conducted, I thought this subject can be handled in a proper manner so that people have understanding about the new procedure which has been now made mandatory. Earlier, e-assessment was assessments were conducted through e-assessment process, but in that the option was given to the assessee. So that is why we are going to discuss about the faceless assessment procedure, which has been now introduced mandatorily by the board. So this disclaimer is only formal thing because I have worked in the department. So whatever I say may not be treated as a view of the department. This is just sharing of the knowledge on the subject. Now, Nikunj, next slide. E-assessment to F assessment. Now, ABCD assessments were in the past. So, e-assessment was the process in which the same assessing officer was there with whom we had jurisdiction of our case, but submissions were made in digital format through the emails of the assessing officer, and those hearings were conducted through this email process. No, same slide, please. So this concept of paperless assessment began in 2015, and in order to facilitate this, the definition of hearing was changed. Hearing includes communication of data and document through electronic mode. This facilitated the e-assessment process. Then in 133C, some information is collected to cross-verify the data which has been collected by the department from various sources. So there also, by a notification, centralized communication scheme was notified. Again, what was proposed there, what has been proposed is a central communication center which will issue the notices, and the assessees will reply through email process or in the digital format. So the digital interaction with the department had started in stages from 2015, and ultimately in 2018 by Finance Act, the statutory force was given to the assessment process. In fact, this started with a concept which was floated by our PM in one of our annual conferences in 2017, where he said that as in the university exams, the answer book is sent to an examiner, but the student does not know which examiner is examining, and the examiner does not know which student's answer book he is examining. Why can't you do this kind of thing in your assessment process so that there is de-link of the assessee or the representatives with the assessing officers? That was the idea. So from there it started, and slowly it has come to this stage now where it has been made operative and has become mandatory. Okay, next slide, please. Statutory force has been given to this by amendment in section 143, the assessment procedure. So in that, three subsections, 3A, 3B, and 3C were introduced in 2018, and it was proposed that central government can make a scheme by notification, and as per the scheme, the assessment process has to be made so as to impart greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability. So transparency, efficiency, and accountability was the objective of introducing this scheme. T, chai peene ke liye se, transparency, efficiency, accounting, TEA. Now, how this was to be done? By now ABC, eliminating the interface between assessing officer and the assessee. Second, optimizing the utilization of resources through economy of scale. And third was team-based assessment with dynamic jurisdiction. These are the three hallmarks which differentiate the traditional assessment process from the F assessment or the faceless assessment process. So this scheme, the statutory force was given and the E scheme was notified according to these sections. And subsection 3B says that for the purpose of making the scheme effective, the various provisions of Income Tax Act may be modified or accepted, or it may be said that some of the sections will not apply, so that the strict legal force of those sections may be diluted or modified to make the scheme effective. So this is how the statutory force has been given to the scheme. Actually, now the scheme which was notified and which is effective as per notification has been brought in the statute itself, and which will be applicable from 1/4/21 till 1/4/21. In this financial year, for 6 months, we will be working as per the scheme which has been notified. It has the force of notification issued under these sections, and from 1/4/21, the whole scheme has been made part of the statute itself, as per the recent act which has been passed 4 days back only. Next slide, please. So the e-assessment scheme as per the section 143(3)(a) was introduced by notification number 61 on 12 September 2019. And as per that notification, the scheme, about 58,000 cases were selected and brought under the purview of scheme. Out of that, about 7,000 cases have been completed, mostly without any additions, mostly. So this was a kind of pilot project or phase 1 of e-assessment. It was known as e-assessment scheme at that time. So having had the experience of handling cases through faceless assessment process, the scheme was modified by notification issued on 13th August 2020. As you might be knowing, PM himself inaugurated this scheme, the modified scheme of faceless assessment. Earlier it was known as e-assessment, now it is known as faceless assessment, so maybe F assessment. And the scheme has been made mandatory now. So any assessment which is not done in accordance with the scheme shall be treated as non-est or non-existing. So that is the force of this scheme. Like all assessments, whether pending or newly initiated, they will be completed as per the faceless assessment scheme. Now what this scheme does, personal interaction of taxpayer or the assessee and the assessee with the assessing officer is eliminated. That is why it is called faceless assessment. The communication or the interaction of assessee or the AR will be only with what is called National E-Assessment Center, National NEAC, National E-Assessment Center, which will now be called, from 1st April, it will be called National Faceless Assessment Center, NFAC. Next slide, please. So, as per the notification, other notifications along with e-assessment notification were issued, whereby the certain sections which are there in the Income Tax Act, their modification to suit the scheme or to make the scheme effective were notified. So these notifications are there, which say how these sections, certain sections, I mean, it's not important for the actual process, but then those sections are there in the Act, and in these notifications, it has been stated as to how they will be modified to make the scheme effective. Now, what are the other initiatives? The survey power is limited to investigation wing and TDS. So this is a great reprieve to the normal businessman who always thought that any time somebody can walk in and ask him to show his accounts or business processes or whatever. So that survey power is now limited to investigation wing. means it is severely curtailed. Now, major manpower of the department has been shifted to F assessment process. 2/3 has been shifted to faceless assessment, and only 1/3 for the remaining functions. Taxpayer charter, which is there in the offering for last 10-15 years, has been given statutory status. Appeal and penalty have also been as proposed to be made faceless. In fact, they have been made faceless, and the schemes will be notified. For appeal, the scheme has already been notified on 25th of September, and for other things also, other processes, the faceless schemes will be notified in due course of time. Next slide. Nikunj, I am audible properly?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
Very clear.
So now we come to the actual process, faceless assessment. What is the traditional assessment process? I mean, how it differs from that. So that we have to understand. So what is traditional process? Traditional process is we file the return, then AO, assessing officer, issues questionnaire, then we submit the reply, maybe in one part or two part, we seek adjournments. Then hearing is attended before the assessing officer to discuss the issues involved. If the assessing officer feels the requirement, he refers it for audit or some valuation or examination of books of accounts. He does that himself or his inspector or whatever. There may be TP issues, there may be forensic issues, there may be inquiries or recording of statement. Some 133 notices are issued for cross verification, or the witnesses are called, a statement is recorded, cross examination is offered. Then the issues are identified, and on those issues the explanation is sought from the assessee, and after submission of that explanation the assessment is made. And in that assessment process, whatever issues he feels, the assessing officer initiates the penalty proceeding. This is what is the traditional process by which we all are aware. Now, what happens in faceless assessment is the same process will be there. There is nothing to be fearful or scared about faceless. Yeah, faceless kya hai, faceless kya hai. There is nothing faceless. The same process of assessment will be there, but only thing is it has been split. The process has been split into parts, and the parts have been assigned to different officers or different units or different teams. So the dealing of the department of the assessee or the process of assessment will not be done by one officer as was done in traditionally, but by a team of officers. Many officers will be involved. However, next slide please. The interaction of assessee or the AR will be only with what is called NEAC. Next slide, Nikunj. So this is faceless. Earlier was the traditional process. Faceless mein what will happen is not one assessing officer but a team of officers. Assessment process divided into parts. Different functions assigned to different units at different places, different locations. Interface of the assessee or the AR will be only with National E-Assessment Center, NEAC, and that also through electronic or digital mode. Then to assist the National E-Assessment Center or the different parts or the processes of the assessment will be assigned to what is called Regional E-Assessment Centers, REAC. So REACs will have 4 different units: assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, and review unit. AU, VU, TU, and RU. So this is the name itself suggests how the process has been split. Assessment unit is for making assessment, verification unit for making verification related to that assessment, technical unit to provide some technical inputs, and review unit for conducting the review of the draft assessment order. Next slide, please. Now, NEAC or the National E-Assessment Center, as per the scheme notified in 19, and from 19 till now, the structure was different. I have omitted that structure because now it has been revised. So as per the latest notification, which was issued on 13th of August, that is what I have taken now. So NEAC will be headed by a principal CCIT located at Delhi, and he will be assisted by 4 PCITs, principal commissioners, each assisted by 2 additional CITs and 4 DCITs. That will be the team of NEAC with whom the assessee or the professionals like us, we will be interacting through digital mode. So that is NEAC, and for all practical purposes, that NEAC is the assessing officer for us, who will be interacting with us and signing the assessment order. Now, NEAC has all India jurisdiction as assessing officer for conduct of the centralized conduct of the assessment proceeding. One NEAC in Delhi, then 35 REACs, each headed by a CCIT at 27 different stations, and holding jurisdiction concurrently to function as assessing officer as per the scheme. So all the assessing officers, the officers in the REACs or NEAC, they have all India jurisdiction. So the case of anywhere in India can be assigned to any assessing officer, any unit. The assessment work in REAC is divided into 4 units, as we discussed earlier: AU, VU, TU, and RU. Assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, and review unit. These are the new buzzwords which we should now understand, and it should internalize for our purpose, because in day-to-day discussions, these things will be discussed, like which is the assessment unit. So I don't know which is. Now it has been assigned to some verification unit or technical unit or whatever. So these are the units which will be working under REACs and providing the inputs to NEAC, which will be interacting with us. Now there are total 95 assessment units, 35 verification units, 4 technical units in 4 metros only, and 20 review units which have been set up. Location is not important, as they have all India jurisdiction, and in fact we will not be aware of where are the assessment units which are working on us, because we will not be interacting with them. We'll be interacting only NEAC. This discussion or the function which has been outlined in the notification, understanding that this will be the process followed by the department, but so far as we are concerned or the assessee is concerned, he will not know which assessment unit or which verification unit is conducting the verification or handling the process of assessment. That is why it is called faceless. We do not know the face of the department. For us, the face is only NEAC. Next slide, please. Now, functions of NEAC. The functions have been assigned, NEAC and REAC, various units. So what are the basic functions of NEAC? The NEAC has overall jurisdiction to make the scheme effective. It will assign the work, as we have understood, the work of the assessment has been split into parts, and the parts will be assigned by NEAC to various units through what is called AAS, Automated Allocation System. So there will be no manual interference with the allocation process. The allocation of all work will be assigned through computer system, and it will be a non-manual thing, automated. Issue of notices to taxpayers and receive responses, and NEAC is empowered to lay down the SOPs, standard operating procedures, for various purposes to make the scheme effective. What are those? Process of communication, how the communication with the assessee, acknowledgement and authentication of replies, documents, etc. with digital signature, how they are to be digitally signed, how the assessee can submit and how it will be treated authenticated, how the department's reply, etc. will be treated as authenticated. About that, SOP can be laid down. Now, facilitate e-assessment, e-proceedings, login, tracking, uploading, downloading, all these facilities. About that, SOPs will be laid down by NEAC. Then receipt, storage, and retrieval of information. This will be the work of NEAC. Then to bring out SOP on circumstances for conducting personal hearing and non-video verification. This we'll discuss later in the course of discussion. This is faceless assessment in which there is no personal hearing. All hearing will be done through digital process and maybe by video conferencing, but the assessee can request in certain circumstances for getting personal hearing. Personal means not physical. Personal hearing will be through video conferencing only, and the verification process will also be done through video conferencing or through digital mode, but there may be certain circumstances where actual physical verification is to be done. Now, what are those circumstances? that will be decided by NEAC, the principal CC who heads that. General administration and grievance redressal relating to the scheme. These are the functions of NEAC, which is the apex body for FSS. Next, REAC functions. Now REAC, as we have discussed, has 4 units: AU, VU, TU, and RU. So assessment unit, what are the functions? Identification of issues or the issues material to the determination of liability. Assessment ke liye, what are the issues which are important? Then seeking information means issue questionnaire, clarification documents, evidence from the assessee or any other person. Analysis of the material furnished by assessee. Making request to NEAC for any verification by VU. Now, any verification in the assessment of any assessee, the AU will request NEAC for getting that verification made through any VU verification unit. So the function is split. Making request to NEAC for technical assistance. If the assessment unit requires any technical assistance, it will refer to any TU through NEAC. That also will not be direct communication. Making draft assessment order after considering all material response from the assessee. This is the function of AU. Next, verification unit will do verification process relating to the assessment, conducting inquiry, verification, cross verification as requested by AU, examination of books of accounts as requested, examination of witness or offering for cross examination through video conferencing and recording statement, submission of report of such examination to NEAC. Now, as you can see, in the assessment unit and verification unit, there is no direct communication. All communication will be through NEAC. So the assessment unit will not know which verification unit is conducting the verification which I had suggested. Next slide, please. Technical unit functions will be providing technical assistance to assessment unit, which includes any assistance or advice on legal, accounting, forensic, IT related matters, reference and obtaining expert reports like valuation, transfer pricing, data analysis, management, or any technical matter, submission of report to NEAC on technical matters. Now, as you can see, advice or assistance on legal matters. Now, legal matter includes the judicial pronouncement or judicial judgments, which Vishnu sir will be taking after this discussion is over. So those there may be doubt that we sitting in Bombay are governed by the Bombay High Court. On a matter, they have given a decision, and on that matter itself, Rajasthan High Court or Allahabad High Court has given a different ruling. So how the assessment will be done according to the legal judgment which is applicable. So this assistance will be provided by technical unit, and they may be examining as to where the assessee belongs to, and in that which judgment will be applicable. This kind of discrepancy or the difficulty will be there, then the technical unit will be providing the help. Next, review unit function is checking whether relevant material and evidence have been brought on record, whether relevant points of facts and law have been discussed and incorporated in the order, whether the issues on which addition is made have been discussed in the draft order, whether applicable judicial decisions have been considered, checking whether there is arithmetical error. So it is a kind of pre-audit of the order. The draft order which is made, that will be checked for these kind of discrepancies or errors. This will be the function of review unit. Next. Now, what is the actual process of assessment? The actual process, there are various clauses in the notification. If you go through, I will explain to you in brief, very brief, as to what is the process. अभी तक जो discussion किया है, we have mostly understood the assessment process, but technically the assessment process will be like this. The interaction of assessee will be only with NEAC. So NEAC will be interacting with the assessee or the AR. But internally, what is the process? What will be the process followed is also explained in the notification. So NEAC will issue notice under 142 specifying the issues for selection of case, seeking reply in 15 days. Now, the issues for which the case has been selected for scrutiny will be identified and written in the notice itself. And the reply on those issues will be sought from us. So it will be the assessment will be limited to those issues only. So it will be a kind of limited assessment. The process of converting the limited scrutiny into full scrutiny is very cumbersome. So we can rest assured that whatever issues have been identified in the notice under 143.2, which was earlier a very formal notice, we did not used to care about that, but this will be very important now. Then all pending scrutiny cases will be given to NEAC, as we have already discussed. The F assessment process is now mandatory, except for the central and international tax. So any case where 143 notice has been issued, or in response to 142.1 no return has been filed, or in the response to 148 no return is filed and 142.1 questionnaire has been issued, all these cases which are at this stage with any assessing officer anywhere in India will be transferred to the NEAC now. Cases will be assigned to one particular AU in any REAC through automated allocation system, AAS. So the case will be assigned to, once the notice is issued, the case comes to NEAC, it will be assigned to one particular AU, assessment unit, anywhere in India. And in the process, informally, what I have understood, what has been the procedure followed in the department is, the city where the assessee is located, or rather state, the assessment unit will not be located in that. The assessment unit, this is the algorithm which is followed in automated allotment system, that the address of the assessee is in one particular state. So assessment unit, except that state, will be chosen for allocation of that. Now, case is assigned to AU, then AU can request the NEAC to obtain further information, means issue of questionnaire, or get inquiries conducted through verification unit or technical assistance from TU. These can be done by the assessment unit. Next. NEAC will issue those notices at the request of AU. NEAC will issue the notice. Assessee will furnish reply. Request from the AU for verification will be sent to any verification unit. Now, the assessment for assessee in Bombay, assessment unit may be located in Chandigarh. They will request NEAC ke sab kuch verification karana hai. That verification unit may be located in Calcutta. Then they need some technical help. The technical unit may be located in Chennai. But the assessment unit or verification unit or TU, they will not know which unit is functioning on the assessment process. All this work will be done through NEAC and in an anonymous manner. NEAC will send report of verification unit or technical unit to assessment unit, or whatever the reply of the assessee will be sent to assessment unit. In case there is failure of submission from assessee side, then NEAC will issue 144 notice, show cause notice, and uska bhi jawab nahi aaya, then that will be communicated to the assessment unit. Then assessment unit, in case of non-reply, 144, or in case whatever material has been collected from the assessee or from the verification unit, etc., on the basis of that will frame a draft assessment order, what is called DAO, draft assessment order, and submit to NEAC. So this is the first part of the assessment is complete, means verification is done, technical inputs are taken, assessee's reply is taken, and then draft assessment order is made, which is given to NEAC. Next, please. Now, AU will also intimate, along with draft assessment order, the penalty proceeding that are to be initiated. Earlier it was 271C or whatever, now it is 270A. Now, once the draft assessment order is submitted, the process NEAC will follow is this, which is shown in italics. NEAC shall examine draft assessment order as per risk assessment to strategy and automated tools. Means the draft assessment order shall be subjected to some kind of digital scrutiny through automated process, in which the various database have been linked and softwares have been designed. So after that examination, NEAC can finalize the assessment order as per draft, or if additions are proposed, issue show cause notice to the assessee. If there is no addition, then the assessment order will be completed. If additions are proposed, then a show cause notice will be issued to the assessee, or NESE may decide to assign draft assessment order to any review unit, RU, through AAS, again automated allocation system. So review unit को भी assign कर सकते हैं for review. These are the alternates which NESE can follow. Then if we assign to RU, then RU may concur with draft or suggest modification. आप यही तो कर सकते हैं. मतलब when the draft is given, either draft is agreed or some modifications are suggested. Either some addition are there which say that this is not justified, they may be deleted, or some more additions are to be made. Whatever, I mean, either way it can suggest. The if RU says draft is okay, then NESE will finalize the order or issue notice to the assessee. If RU proposes modifications, then what happens? NESE shall assign the case to another AU other than the AU which sent the draft. यदि कुछ modification suggest किया, then it will be sent to a new assessment unit. Next, please. Then new AU assessment unit, after considering draft and the suggestions of RU, will send the final draft to NESE. दोनों consider करके, then they will send the final draft to NESE. NESE again, after receiving the final draft, can follow the same process. Either it can complete the assessment, issue show cause notice to the assessee, or if the show cause notice is issued, whatever reply is received or not received, then the reply etc. will be sent to the AU. Now this is not clear in the scheme which AU it will be sent, the original AU or the AU which had sent the final draft. Most probably it will be the second AU to which the final draft was sent, because ultimately that is the draft available now for finalizing the assessment. Now AU will send a revised draft to NESE. After considering assessee's reply, some additions may be dropped or not dropped. Then thereafter, revised draft will be sent to NESE after all this process, and after receipt of revised draft, then NESE follows same process. If prejudicial to the assessee, then finalize the. If nothing is prejudicial, then finalize the order. Otherwise, issue show cause to the assessee. And show cause के बाद में again, after receiving reply, then it can finalize. Next. On receipt of reply from the assessee, procedure as earlier may be followed. Means in the entire process, as we have discussed, ample opportunity is given to the assessee at different stages. At the draft assessment order, if the RU has suggested some modification, then in the revised draft, or which is called final draft, there also the assessee is given show cause. And finally, when the revised draft is there, then also the anything which is done prejudicial to the assessee will be provided to the assessee, and the opportunity will be given to furnish reply. And after considering that reply only, the assessment will be finalized. After assessment is completed, the records, electronic records, because all the submissions etc. are there in electronic format, will be transferred to the jurisdictional AO. So the assessment process is complete, and now the subsequent processes will be done by the jurisdictional AO. Now it has been provided that if considered necessary, NESE may, with the approval of the board, transfer any case to the jurisdictional AO at any stage of proceeding. This option has been given to assign the case to jurisdictional AO at any stage of proceeding, any F assessment or the faceless assessment. Now whether it will happen or not, we don't know, but as of now, the process of faceless assessment will be done in this manner. Next, please. We are running out of time. I think half an hour was given, but now apart from the assessment, any notice for non-compliance during the assessment process by assessee or any other person, like 131 is issued or 133(6) is issued for providing some information that remains non-compliant. So on those notices, the penalty proceedings will be finalized at NESE itself. Show cause will be issued to the assessee or other person, reply will be received, that will be sent to the AU which had proposed the penalty, AU or RU or TU, whichever, any unit can propose, and the penalty order as per the draft shall be finalized, or it can be dropped also after considering assessee's explanation. So the penalty proceeding only relating to non-compliance during the process, but the penalty proceeding that are initiated during the assessment process relating to the misdeclaration or what is under reporting or misreporting, that will be dealt with by the jurisdictional AO subsequently. Next, please. Now, all communication shall be in electronic mode or verification by VU in specified. No. All communication will be done in electronic mode, whether where modification is proposed in draft and the show cause is issued, assessee or AR may request. Now, this is the slightly different from that. What are the options for personal hearing? All the communication till now was in electronic or digital mode. Now, at the stage of show cause notice, the assessee or AR may request that I need a personal hearing with the authorities. So, that request will be considered by CCIT in charge of REAC, and they may either approve or disapprove that request. Once the request is approved, then through video conferencing, the personal hearing will be conducted, and in that you can make an appearance like what we are doing right now. That kind of hearing will be there with the assessing officer, and you can make submissions in the personal hearing. Other than that, the communication will be only through electronic mode in written formats. Examination of witness or the statement recording, that also will be done through video conferencing. Next, please. So option for personal hearing has been given. It's not coming clearly. Previous slide. This is only the processes which have been defined as to how the services will be done, how the authentication of record will be done, whether digital signature or electronic signature, what will the process by which the NEAC will communicate with assessee or the assessee will communicate with NEAC. This will be done through registered account of the assessee or sending email on the assessee's to assessee's AR or assessee, whatever email has been provided, or there will be a mobile app, through that it can be done, and any notices by NEAC will be followed by alert, SMS alert. So it will be a kind of communication, electronic communication. This method will be followed, and this will be treated as proper service of the notice. The replies which we have to file will again be either through registered account, it can be done, or email, or through mobile app. Next, please. Now, in the nutshell, the assessment process has been pictorially shown here. This is the taxpayer. This is NEAC. This taxpayer will have interaction only with NEAC, two-way interaction. Notice is issued and reply is given. This is jurisdictional AO, with which also NEAC will be in communication, getting the records, and after assessment transferring the records, and the taxpayer for other purposes will communicate with the jurisdictional AO. For assessment process, NEAC will be connecting to assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, and review unit individually. If this AU has to connect with verification unit, it has to go to NEAC and then come to verification unit. So all communication, inter-se communication in various units will be also through NEAC. So NEAC is the central unit or the functionality which will be conducting the assessment process, and all the participant in the assessment process, taxpayer as well as 4 units, they will not have any interaction amongst themselves or with each other. Next. This we have already discussed. So NEACs will communicate with the assessee or with REACs, various units. So they will not have any communication amongst themselves. All other functions except assessment like rectification, recovery, appeal effect, penalty, etc. will be done by the jurisdictional officers. So jurisdictional officer will be doing all function. NEAC will be conducting only the assessment. Appeal against the NEAC order will be filed with the CIT appeal having jurisdiction over the jurisdictional layout. This was the process earlier, but now appeal has also been made faceless. So where appeal has to be filed, this also again for appeal process, there will be National Faceless Appeal Center. So all appeals against the NEAC orders will lie with the National Faceless Assessment Center, and your appeal of Bombay can be assigned to an appeal unit in say Jaipur or say Hyderabad or anywhere. So appeal has also become faceless now. Next, please. Whether faceless assessment is challenge or opportunity. Now only time will tell whether it is challenge or opportunity. But in every challenge, there is an opportunity. Like what we are doing now. The corona was a big challenge for the entire humanity all over the world. But this provided opportunity to us to interact through video conferencing and conduct so many seminars. Like 17 seminars have been conducted by your CPE circle in this corona period or the lockdown period. And this actually is upgrading our skill. What skills we will be required to face the faceless assessment process. So in the challenge of corona also, this was a great opportunity because we have become familiar with this process. Otherwise, in the faceless process, this was a new thing. Kaise conference karte hain, how the Zoom is run, how these things are done, how we can interact on electronic media or video conferencing. So this is an opportunity. So again, in faceless assessment, there may be challenges and also there are opportunities. So what are the challenges or the problems? Actual procedure clarity nahi hai, limited or full scrutiny, kya hoga, how the notices will be issued, then strict timelines, whether I will be able to make adjournments. Abhi yahan to tha ki assessing officer request kiya, sir, I need some time, then it has been given. You know the assessing officer, you can talk to him, you can interact with him, but now there is nobody to interact except the NEAC email. So timelines have to be adhered to. Technological limitations, uploading file size, bada ho gaya, how the conferencing is to be done. Digital connectivity issues may be there in the smaller towns. Speed is not there, enough speed is not there for conducting those processes. Lack of familiarity with digital processes, file naming processes, mistaken or partial uploading. Ek file upload karna tha dusra, and some other file has been uploaded. Now how it is to be withdrawn, what is to be done, attachment galat kar diya. Legal issues may arise relating to valuation, TP, DRP, which High Court will apply. Assessee is situated here, assessing officer is situated somewhere else. Now, how to handle these difficulties faced during the process? ये सब challenges हैं, but I think department or the NEAC, I had an interaction, एक इसी तरह का faceless का ऊपर assessment ये हुआ था interaction, in which the CC NEAC assured the taxpayers or the professionals that the problems that would arise in this will be properly dealt with and solution will be brought out with that. So these challenges are to be met. Next, please. What are the opportunities? Now, faceless procedure, harassment is likely to be avoided. Like earlier, if the assessing officer or the assessee or the AR, they have some kind of misunderstanding, then you are at the mercy of the assessing officer. Whatever he does, you don't have any solution or you don't have any alternative to that. So that harassment, because personal interaction will not be there, so personal whims and fancies will not have any place here. So harassment may be avoided. Assessment not by one officer, by a team of officers. So chance of mistakes are minimal because many officers will be looking at the order. Review provision, review unit. So that is the extra level to prevent frivolous additions. फालतू addition जो हो रहा है, which we say, अरे साहब ये क्यों कर रहे हो? So the review unit, when they see, they can come out that, I mean, this addition is not called for, ये बेकार है. This can be avoided. Electronic communication है, process will become faster. Digital record है, permanently it can be saved for future reference. and paperless procedure hai, so less paperwork will be there. You need not give big files, fat files to the assessing officer in a paper format. All things have to be submitted in a digital format, so paper handling will be reduced. Next. But then this also has a flip side, because a group of officers will be dealing with the assessment process. Any weak issue in the case of our client will not remain hidden. Somebody or the other may highlight that issue, because earlier it was only one assessing officer. So if he is not able to point out any issue or see any issue about which we are not so strong, then it will be hidden and assessment hua, file gayi. But now somebody or the other, some officer or the other may highlight that issue. Now same set of officers are there who will be doing F assessment. So tendency of play safe in the departmental officer, that may continue. Quality of order is likely to significantly improve because it will be a group assessment or team-based assessment. With faceless appeals, again in the appeal also we do not have any chance of personal hearing. So we have to be very careful right from the beginning, that because the record will be permanently saved, whatever we have submitted. So we have to be very careful what is to be submitted, how it is to be submitted, how the case is to be represented. So our responsibility also increases. This is the flip side. Next, please. Next. So how do we handle faceless assessment? What changes do we need? Change of strategy, complete change of strategy has to be made to handle faceless assessment. Prompt action is required. We cannot take it lightly. Timelines have to be made. Time margin has to be kept for scanning and uploading of files. Then quality of reply gains tremendous importance, because on the basis of written reply itself, which will be digitally saved for permanently, the assessment orders will be decided. So reply quality will be very, very important. Reply has to be to the point, and irrelevant submission, lengthy submissions have to be avoided. Otherwise, it will not be read by anybody, and in a confused state of mind, the additions will be made. Facts of the case and legal contentions are to be properly explained. And actually, we have to be very careful while filing the return itself, because now the assessment process will be done only on the basis of record. There will be no personal interaction of assessee or AR. Next, please. So what are the requirements to handle this? Ease of working with computer software that we have to develop if it is not already there. Familiarity with video conferencing applications, analytical skills, attention to details, legal knowledge, about which Vishnu sir will be taking. Anticipating supplementary query. This is very important. When we submit a reply, what can be the query by the department or the assessing officer after seeing the reply? If you can anticipate that, you can avoid multiple exchange of letters, and that reply can be made a complete, in the sense that no further requirement of any inquiry will be there. Clarity of expression has to be there. You may know so many things. You may know the legal aspects also. You may know the facts also. But unless you are able to express it properly in your reply, that reply will not be of much use, because if the assessing officer, whoever is dealing with that, can't understand, then the outcome, you know, when what will happen. Drafting skills will be very, very important, how the letter is drafted. I have outlined some tips for good drafting. Now time is not there, so I'll not deal with much in detail, but these are the basic tips for drafting, which I have done in my whole career at different points of time. In the drafting, structure and organize, think logically, understand before writing, use simple
Sir,
language.
we'll be sharing this presentation with all the members. Immediately after the session, we'll be uploading this on YouTube, and we'll be sharing this whole presentation, if you allow.
So therefore, these tips can be understood. I mean, there is no, these are very simple tips, but then one has to understand that drafting of letters becomes very, very important now, because on the basis of letters submitted by you, the assessment will be drafted or completed. So these are the tips which I have understood. The like break the discussion in points. Like you are not good at expression. You want to say so many things, but kaise kahe, how to write that paragraph. So instead of writing paragraph, you discuss in points. So 1 point, 2nd point, 3rd point. Use tables when dealing with data or figures. Time management is to be there. And most important is proofreading and editing. Once you draft the reply, it is not that whatever reply you have drafted is the final. See it again, edit, proofread 2 times, 3 times, and thereafter try to finalize so that the final submission which you are making does not contain any errors, factual or grammatical errors, mistakes, wrong submissions, anything which can damage your case. That should not be there. Next, please. So this is my message to all the members. Like department has shifted to group assessment, in team-based assessment. So that has to be responded by us by a group representation. That will solve a lot of problems or the unknown fears which we have about faceless. Why? What has to be done? Upgrading of skills, collaborating of talents. You are not good at something, but your colleague, the other fellow member of your study circle, or maybe some other chartered accountant, other professional, he knows something, take his help. Earlier, we were handling the assessment on our own because assessing officer was also alone. Now they have a team where different skilled officers are there. So we also have to upgrade our skills and share our resources, pool the talents. Networking has to be there amongst professionals. We have to take each other's help wherever required. And the most important is seek assistance from the experienced. Those who have experience of handling such matters, whether inside or outside, whether in the department, maybe the officers who have worked in the department, they can give you the insight as to what will happen to the reply. Like if you make a reply and show it before filing, if you show it to some officer whom you know, he can tell you how this reply will be viewed by the departmental officer, whether it will have some supplementary query, whether it will generate some inquiry, whether it will generate some verification, or whether it will have some implication. So if you can seek assistance from the experienced or your colleagues in draft, in the reply which is to be submitted to the department, that will help prevent many problems which might arise because of the unthoughtful submission that have been. So the final this thing, the message which according to me is important for faceless is the reply which you submit to the NESE has to be complete, has to be clear, has to be precise, has to be to the point, and containing the relevant facts and legal provisions, so that the officers who are reading the reply, because they do not know your face, they do not have interaction with you, they will be going only by the reply. If you submit lengthy reply, it will not be read and something or the other will be added. If you do not submit proper reply, then they are stuck up with that. So your assessment will be depending upon the reply which you submit. So better get it vetted or maybe drafted or vetted by somebody who has experience in doing that. Skills of drafting are there. That will save a lot of trouble to the assessor. Thank you very much for patient listening. We have exceeded the time limit which was given to me. Sorry for that. But anyway, the faceless assessment is nothing to fear about. It is the same assessment process which has been done, but in a slightly different manner. And our response also has to be modified or changed according to the requirements. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a fantastic session, sir. In a nutshell, you explained all the aspects of faceless assessment, wherein you detailed out the procedure, the principles, the opportunities, the flip sides, and the disadvantages or the challenges, rather, and the approach to handle those challenges and those flip sides. Definitely, the key takeaway was that going forward, networking with the like-minded professionals and having those professionals having experience with regards to drafting, with regards to the legal provisions, with regards to the experience in interacting with the department or in interacting with the assessees will be the key in getting over with this challenge, sir. We thank you for taking out time, sir, and sharing your valuable thoughts on this topic. Of course, the members have benefited by a huge extent, and we thank you again, sir.
Thank you
Looking
very much.
forward to having more sessions, sir, in future with this.
Surely, sure.
Thank you, sir. Sir, just a second, sir. Unmesh, you can type in the query, sir. Okay, rather we can take queries later on because we are already running
running late. Yeah,
out of time.
we can take it later. Yeah.
Immediately we'll move on to the next part of today's VCM. Ritu madam, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikunj bhai. So before moving forward to the technical part of our today's session, I take the opportunity to formally introduce our today's speaker, sir, CA Vishnu ji Agarwal. So CA Vishnu ji Agarwal is a fellow chartered accountant and till date the youngest chairman of WIRC. He is Bachelor of Commerce and has done DISA with more than 15 years of experience. He is currently a partner at Messrs VSS and Associates. He was regional council member of WIRC of ICAI for 3 consecutive terms. During his tenure, he served various committees and the WIRC of ICAI, where he made several representations before government and other relevant authorities. Vishnu sir has been invited as a regular speaker at various forums and as a panelist on a variety of subjects. He is a regular speaker on topics related to direct taxes and litigation matters. With this brief introduction, I request sir to please take the charge. I think there is some technical issue. Nikunj bhai?
Nikunj, please.
Nikunj bhai. I guess sir is facing some technical issue.
देखो नहीं, अभी एक सेकेंड, शेयर स्क्रीन आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
हाँ सर, आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
शेयर स्क्रीन करता हूँ, एक सेकेंड। होस्ट डिसेबल पार्टिसिपेंट स्क्रीन शेयरिंग। स्क्रीन शेयर निकुंज सर को
शेयर कर सकते हैं सर।
तब कर देते हैं, अभी
ट्राई कीजिए सर, एक बार वापस ट्राई कीजिए।
शेयर स्क्रीन शेयरिंग, यस। एक सेकंड।
हाँ, कोई बात नहीं सर। हाँ, आया सर, आपका स्क्रीन शेयरिंग चालू हुई है। पीपीटी चालू कर लीजिए सर। हाँ सर। क्लियर है सर, विजिबल है।
Very good morning, friends. Thanks to Bhayander Study Circle for inviting me for analysis of important judgment of Supreme Court, High Court and ITAT. Very respected, my very good friend Nikunj, the convener of the Bhayander Study Circle, Amit Agarwal, Divya Jain, the deputy convener, Amit Agarwal, managing committee, Vasai branch, Ritu Agarwal ji, and our honorable Director General of Income Tax, Shri R.K. Gupta ji, and all my friends. Friends, now the COVID time is going on, and we chartered accountant on every Saturday and Sunday, and even the working day, we are learning something on the new subject for benefit of the nation. And friends, the very difficult time is going on. Everyone we know, not only for us, but across the country and across the world, very difficult time is going on. Friends, in this difficult time, we chartered accountant are every day hearing that in this month, this is the last date of the GST, this is the last date for the income tax, TDS return, income tax return. Friends, I personally request you, don't panic and take very easy, because our so many friends are no more in this corona time, and whole family is suffering from the COVID. Friends, don't take any stress in this difficult situation and take very easy. Friends, now coming on the subject, I have taken the Supreme Court, High Court and ITAT judgment which are relevant to in our day-to-day activity. Friends, sometime whenever any notice is come, स्कूटनी का नोटिस आ गया, स्कूटनी का जैसे नोटिस आया, आपने सिर्फ उसकी प्रोसीडिंग चालू कर दी। कौन सा नोटिस आया है, कौन से सेक्शन का नोटिस आया है, वी हैव नॉट सीन। मोमेंट वी से दैट कि स्कूटनी का नोटिस आ गया, अपन ने उसकी प्रोसीडिंग चालू कर दी और उसको सबमिशन असेसिंग ऑफिसर को देना चालू कर दिया। फ्रेंड्स, Section 143(2) notice is the very essential notice for the scrutiny proceeding. Sometime the assessing officer has forgot to give the notice under Section 143(2). 143(2) का नोटिस जो है, यहाँ से स्क्रूटनी प्रोसीडिंग चालू होती है। यदि 143(2) का नोटिस यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने नहीं, then your whole assessment is null and void. Friends, the Supreme Court has held in the CIT versus Lakshman Das Khandelwal 2019 108 taxman that 143(2) notice is not a curable defect. 143(2) का नोटिस यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने नहीं दिया है तो वो कोई छोटा मोटा डिफेक्ट नहीं है। In section 292BB in 2008 it has been amended that during the course of the assessment proceeding, यदि आपने ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं लिया है कि 143(2) का नोटिस नहीं आया है, then it is deemed to be clear that you have received the notice. Friends, 143(2) notice is very essential notice. If you have not received the notice under section 143(2), then you take the objection at the time of the assessment proceeding, at any time of the assessment proceeding, that we have not received 143(2) notice, although we are cooperating with the department and submitting all the details. Friends, 143(2) का नोटिस में सबसे ज्यादा गलती असेसिंग ऑफिसर कहाँ करता है? इन नॉर्मल स्क्रूटनी इन केसेस में 143(2) के नोटिस में असेसिंग ऑफिसर से गलती मिस्टेक बहुत कम होती है। बट इफ योर केस हैज बीन रीओपन अंडर सेक्शन 148 के नोटिस में टाइम लिमिट के अंदर 148 का नोटिस असेसिंग ऑफिसर को देना है, और उस 148 के नोटिस में 143(2) का नोटिस उसके बाद में आपको देना है। 148 के जितने भी रीओपन मैटर हैं उसमें कई बार ये मिस्टेक ज्यादा देखी गई है कि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने 143(2) का नोटिस नहीं दिया है। 143(2) का नोटिस दिया है या नहीं दिया है, हाउ वी विल नो? हम खुद भी भूल जाते हैं कि 143(2) का नोटिस रिकॉर्ड पे है या नहीं। You take the search of the file from the department with which notice has been issued, at what time this notice has been issued, because 143(2) notice is very important notice to start the proceeding of the scrutiny assessment. यदि scrutiny 143(2) का नोटिस नहीं है, फाइल में नहीं है, your whole proceeding is null and void, चाहे उसमें एडिशन 100 करोड़ का है चाहे 10 करोड़ रुपए का है। 148 नोटिस, ये ज्यादातर जो मिस्टेक होती है ये रीओपन के केस में ज्यादा होती है। 148 का जब भी नोटिस असेसिंग ऑफिसर इश्यू करता है उसके पहले उसको एक सेटिस्फेक्शन रिकॉर्ड करना है, रिकॉर्ड ऑफ द रीजन। नोटिस इश्यू करने के पहले उसको रीजन रिकॉर्ड करना है कि वो 148 का नोटिस क्यों इश्यू कर रहा है। यदि उसने 148 के नोटिस इश्यू करने के पहले यदि रीजन को रिकॉर्ड नहीं किया है, then your whole proceeding is null and void. In PCIT versus Tata Sons Limited, in 2019, Bombay High Court has said that where assessing officer issued notice under section 148 without recording reason for the same, it was not a mere case of the clerical error. Sometime what happened, friends, जब भी कोई assessing officer से mistake हो जाती है तो ऑर्डर के अंदर 292B और 292B लगा के उस ऑर्डर को, उस मिस्टेक को कवर करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि हमसे ये मिस्टेक हो गई है। सेक्शन 292B भी उसी चीज के लिए है कि जहां पे असेसिंग ऑफिसर से यदि कोई मिस्टेक हो गई है तो उस चीज को एसेस, और उसको बाद में ध्यान में आता है कि मेरे से ये मिस्टेक हो गई है, तो उस चीज को सेक्शन 292B भी कवर करता है फ्रेंड्स। लेकिन कुछ मिस्टेक ऐसी है जो क्यूरेबल मिस्टेक नहीं है। 148 का नोटिस यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर इश्यू कर रहा है और उसको ने रीजन रिकॉर्ड नहीं किया है, हाउ वी नो दैट कि रीजन रिकॉर्ड किया या नहीं किया है? हाउ कैन वी नो कि रीजन रिकॉर्ड किया या नहीं किया है? यू टेक द सर्च फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ ऑल द पेपर्स, ऑल द डॉक्यूमेंट्स। फ्रेंड्स, 148 के रीजन का सेटिस्फेक्शन 31 मार्च इसकी डेडलाइन है 148 नोटिस इश्यू करने की। 148 के नोटिस इश्यू करने के जिस दिन उसने रीजन रिकॉर्ड किया है, सेटिस्फेक्शन उसके 10 से 15 दिन पहले का होना चाहिए, जो अपन बाद में डील करेंगे। 148 का नोटिस जब भी इश्यू किया और उसने यदि रीजन रिकॉर्ड नहीं किया है, योर होल प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड। फ्रेंड्स, यदि ऑर्डर नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी का पास किया है, नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी मीन्स जो कंपनी का अस्तित्व आज नहीं है, there are several reasons with due to merger, amalgamation, death of the person and the strike of the company. यदि किसी कंपनी का अमेलगेमेशन हो गया है किसी दूसरी कंपनी के साथ में और आपको 148 का नोटिस या नॉर्मल स्क्रूटनी नोटिस यदि आपको डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का दे रहे हैं और असेसमेंट ऑर्डर भी उस डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का ही बना रहे हैं, नंबर 1, नोटिस आपको डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का दिया है, नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का नोटिस दिया है और ऑर्डर उसने आफ्टर जिस कंपनी के अंदर अमेलगेमेशन जो कंपनी हो गई है उस कंपनी के नाम का ऑर्डर बना रहे हैं। ऑल आर द सिचुएशन वी विल डील। यदि किसी पर्सन की डेथ हो गई है, डेथ के बाद में डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का यदि आपको नोटिस देते हैं और डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का ही ऑर्डर बनाते हैं। यदि कोई कंपनी स्ट्राइक ऑफ हो गई है, स्ट्राइक ऑफ कंपनी के नाम का नोटिस देते हैं और स्ट्राइक ऑफ कंपनी के नाम को ही ऑर्डर बनाते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, यदि नोटिस भी स्ट्राइक ऑफ कंपनी के नाम का दिया है, नोटिस भी नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग का दिया है और ऑर्डर भी नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग का दिया है, देन योर होल ऑर्डर इज नल एंड वॉइड। PCIT versus Maruti Suzuki India Limited 2019 Supreme Court has clarified that if assessing officer has issued a notice on the deceased person and passed the order on the deceased person, friends, your whole assessment proceeding is null and void. इसको 292B के द्वारा इसको कवर नहीं कर सकते हैं। सिर्फ 292B हर जगह सारा लेके असेसिंग ऑफिसर ये नहीं कह सकता है कि मेरे से गलती हो गई है। असेसिंग ऑफिसर को नोटिस इश्यू करने से पहले हर चीज को माइन्यूटली देखना है कि मैं किस पर्सन को नोटिस इश्यू कर रहा हूं। फ्रेंड्स, यदि नोटिस भी आपका डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का है और ऑर्डर भी डिकीज पर्सन के नाम का है, नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का नोटिस भी है और नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का है, then there is no problem friends, your whole assessment is null and void। यदि नोटिस आपका नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का है, लीकेज पर्सन का है, और यदि ऑर्डर उसने अमेलगेमेटेड कंपनी का बना लिया है, जिस कंपनी के साथ में वो अमेलगेमेशन हुई है, ऑर्डर जो है वो नॉन लीकेज पर्सन का है, एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी का है, फ्रेंड्स, इन द मारुति सुजुकी इंडिया लिमिटेड अगेन द होल थिंग्स आर द क्लेरिफाइड दैट यदि नोटिस नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी का है और यदि ऑर्डर भी ऑर्डर existing company का है, then again whole assessment proceeding is null and void। It means the importance of the notice is very important। The 292B एक छोटी मोटी गलती जहां assessment proceeding में होती है उसको कवर कर सकता है, लेकिन 292B जो सेक्शन है उसको कि उसने नोटिस ही किसी गलत आदमी के नाम का दे दिया उसको कवर नहीं करता है। फ्रेंड्स, कई बार कई सिचुएशन ऐसी आती है कि ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर जो है वो लीकेज पर्सन के नाम का बना है, नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का बना है। ये ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग के केस में होता है, जहां पे पहले ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर बनता है और फिर उसका फाइनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर बनता है। फ्रेंड्स, यदि ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर आपकी नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का है और फाइनल असेसमेंट ऑर्डर यदि आपका एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का है, तो भी योर होल प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड। इन द फेडेक्स एक्सप्रेस Trans and Supply Chain India Private Limited, the Bombay Tribunal has held that where draft assessment order under section 144C was passed in the amalgamating company, which was a non-existing entity, in the eyes of the law on the date of the passing of such order, it becomes an illegal order। Friends, यदि draft assessment order भी यदि उस non-existing company के नाम का है, then your whole assessment proceeding is null and void। In Sumit Balakrishnan Gupta versus ICAI, the Bombay High Court has held that in the name of the deceased person, if the reopen notice has been given, 148 notice has been given, then again the whole proceeding is null and void। Friends, in the PCIT versus Trans MT Service Private Limited, Delhi High Court has held that where assessing officer framed assessment on a company which got amalgamated with another company and ceased to be exist, tribunal was justified in passing said assessment holding, then same was the void एम्बिटो। फ्रेंड्स, यदि नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का यदि कोई भी ऑर्डर है, नोटिस भी नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का है और ऑर्डर भी नॉन एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी के नाम का है, होल असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड। देन फर्स्ट यू सी व्हेन नोटिस हैज बीन कम इन योर हैंड, नोटिस कौन से सेक्शन में दिया है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, नोटिस किस नाम का है, नोटिस के ऊपर पेन नंबर किसका है, नोटिस के ऊपर नाम और एड्रेस किसका है। फ्रेंड्स, दीज फर्स्ट थिंग यू सी व्हेन यू गॉट द नोटिस इट योर हैंड। फ्रेंड्स, असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग में कई बार ये मिस्टेक हो जाती है, कई बार ARB ऑथराइज्ड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव जो अटेंड कर रहा है वो कई बार उसके नजर से निकल जाती है चीज, बट एट द टाइम ऑफ द CIT अपील एंड द ITAT यू मस्ट थिंक दैट द नोटिस हैज बीन गिवन इन द नेम ऑफ द डिकीज पर्सन और नॉन डिकीज पर्सन। Friends, in which section and what time the notice has been given। In section 148 notice is very important notice। उसके लिए सब टाइम फ्रेम है, कब दे सकता है, क्यों दे सकता है। 148 का जो नोटिस है वो कई बार सिर्फ चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन के लिए दिया जाता है, चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन का दिया है। पहले ऑलरेडी एक बार असेसमेंट हो चुका है और उसके बाद में उसका रीअसेसमेंट होता है। असेसिंग ऑफिसर के ध्यान में बाद में कई चीज आती है कि ये चीजें असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग में लेना भूल गए, किसी पर्सन के यहाँ सर्च होती है और उस सर्च पर्सन के यहाँ कुछ ऐसा मटेरियल एविडेंस मिलता है जो किसी थर्ड पर्सन के असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग को इफेक्ट करता है, और वहां से यदि कोई इंफॉर्मेशन जुरिडिक्शनल EO के पास आती है, देन जुरिडिक्शनल EO रीओपन द केसेस। उसका पहले यदि असेसमेंट हो चुका है तो बाद में सेक्शन 148 के अंदर रीअसेसमेंट होता है। उसके अंदर 4 साल और 6 साल की टाइम लिमिट है कि 4 साल में कौन सा केस रीओपन होता है और 6 साल में कौन सा केस रीओपन होता है। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक रेशियो लेट डाउन किया है इन द एनडीटीवी वर्सेस डीसीआईटी कि असेसमेंट 148 की क्या रेशियो है, 148 किस कंडीशन के अंदर दे सकता है। सिर्फ चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन के लिए 148 का नोटिस नहीं दे सकते हैं कि पहले एक बार असेसमेंट हो चुका है और बाद में उसका वापस से यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर के पास में कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन आती है कि इसने 5 करोड़ रुपए की कोई अकोमोडेशन एंट्री ली है या कोई लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन नहीं दिखाया है या कोई फ्लैट सेल किया है और वो नहीं दिखाया है या उसने कोई 2 बैंक स्टेटमेंट नहीं दिखाए हैं, फ्रेंड्स, यदि एट द टाइम ऑफ द असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग आपने ईच एंड एवरीथिंग असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग के अंदर दे दी है, चाहे उसका असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के अंदर उन्होंने जिक्र किया है, असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के अंदर उस चीज को लिखी है या नहीं लिखी है, बट you have submitted each and everything, then the assessing officer has applied his mind and done the assessment order. Friends, after 1 year, 2 year or 3 year, if any new thing has been come to the notice of the assessing officer, in that time say that this is the change of opinion and we are again reopen the cases. Friends, the Sara India Mutual Benefit Company Limited, it is very interesting case. In 2009, the Supreme Court has held in the Sara India Mutual Benefit Company Limited, friends, at the time of the original assessment, Sara India Mutual Benefit Company ने कोई 20-20 हजार रुपए के कैश लोन बुक्स में लिए थे. At the time of assessment proceeding, the Sara India Mutual Benefit Company Limited has given each and every detail what required by the assessing officer. After the case has been reopened, that section 269 SS be applied for this particular Sara India case. Friends, the Supreme Court has held that once the assessment has been done and in the assessment order, each and everything has been discussed with the assessee, what loan has been taken and what whether section 269 SS is taken on 269 SS has been लगेगा कि नहीं लगेगा. Friends, in that particular time यदि 269 SS यदि नहीं लगाया है, बाद में सिर्फ चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन हो गया कि दूसरा असेसिंग ऑफिसर बोलता है कि 269 SS लगना चाहिए या सेम असेसिंग ऑफिसर भी बोलता है कि 269 SS लगना चाहिए. The Supreme Court has held, friends, in that particular case, if change of opinion, there is no 148 and whole proceeding is null and void. In the same case, friends, in the Rubik's Trading Private Limited, the Supreme Court has held in the 2019 एसएससी के इंटरेस्ट इनकम थी और उसके सामने इंटरेस्ट का एक्सपेंसेस था. इंटरेस्ट इनकम एंड इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंसेस कर दोनों को नलिफाई करके जो इंटरेस्ट आया नेट प्रॉफिट उस पर टैक्स कर दिया. आफ्टर द केस हैज बीन रीओपन, नहीं जो इंटरेस्ट इनकम आई है वो आपकी इनकम फ्रॉम अदर सोर्सेज है और जो इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंसेज है ये आपका वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस में जाएगा. फ्रेंड्स, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज हेल्ड that once the assessment has been done and the assessing officer has minutely checked each and everything, that only because of the change of opinion, the assessment cannot be reopened. Friends, in the same thing, in the Everlon Synthetics Private Limited, the Bombay High Court has held that in this particular case, बैंक से वन टाइम सेटलमेंट किया था और बैंक से जितना वन टाइम सेटलमेंट हुआ उसकी जो रिसिप्ट आई वो कैपिटल रिसिप्ट के अंदर ट्रीट की गई. बाद में डिपार्टमेंट सेज दिस इज द रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट. फ्रेंड्स, यदि एक बार किसी असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने उसको कैपिटल रिसिप्ट मान ली है और बाद में यदि अनदर असेसिंग ऑफिसर सेज या ऑडिट ऑब्जेक्शन आता है कि ये तो रेवेन्यू रिसिप्ट है, only because of the change of opinion, the 148 notice cannot be given and whole proceeding is null and void. Friends, the New Power Renewable Private Limited versus ACIT, the Bombay High Court has held that after the expiry of the 4 year, in the 148 के नोटिस में 4 साल और 6 साल का क्लोज है, जिसका पहले असेसमेंट नहीं हुआ है. यदि समरी असेसमेंट हुआ है 143(1) के अंदर यदि असेसमेंट हुआ है तो उसका 6 साल तक एक टाइम लिमिट है, 6 साल तक उसको रीओपन कर सकते हैं. यदि जिसका असेसमेंट हो गया है उसको 4 साल तक रीओपन कर सकते हैं. फ्रेंड्स, इन द न्यू पावर रिन्यूएबल प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, in the reassessment proceeding, it has been held that only information has been come from the investigation wing that this company has been taken the fund from the Mauritius-based company. Friends, only because of the change of opinion, because at the time of the original assessment proceeding, he has given each and every document, and only because of the change of opinion, the reassessment proceeding cannot be held. Friends, जब भी कोई 148 का नोटिस इश्यू होता है तो असेसिंग ऑफिसर अपने आप नहीं दे सकता है। असेसिंग ऐसा नहीं कि उसके पास में इंफॉर्मेशन आ गई और उसने या उसको फाइल देख रहा है और उसको लगता है कि इसमें 148 का नोटिस मुझे देना है और उसने 148 का नोटिस दे दिया। फ्रेंड्स, डिपार्टमेंट की इसके अंदर एक गाइडलाइंस है, एक सेक्शन 151 है। 151 के अंदर उसको प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी से अप्रूवल लेना पड़ेगा कि मैं इसमें 148 का नोटिस देना चाहता हूँ। उसको अपना असेसिंग ऑफिसर को अपना एक रीजन रिकॉर्ड करना पड़ेगा कि इसमें 148 का नोटिस क्यों देना है। नंबर 1, प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी himself see all the papers and files and then he will apply his mind कि whether इसमें 148 का नोटिस देना चाहिए या नहीं देना चाहिए। Sometime the several cases, जब भी प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी अपना सेटिस्फैक्शन रिकॉर्ड करते हैं तब सिर्फ यस लिख लेते हैं, YES, यस। वेदर इसमें नोटिस देना चाहिए तो कि यस देना चाहिए। फ्रेंड्स, सिर्फ यस लिखने से काम नहीं चलेगा। एज प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी को अपना पूरा रीजन लिखना पड़ेगा कि इसमें 148 का नोटिस देना है या नहीं देना है। 151 के अंदर प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी को पूरा रीजन रिकॉर्ड करना पड़ेगा कि इसमें 151 का नोटिस देना चाहिए या नहीं देना, 148 का नोटिस देना चाहिए या नहीं देना चाहिए। सिर्फ 151 के अंदर मैकेनिकल एक्ट पार्ट पूरा करते हैं कि उनके पास फाइल टेबल पे गई, जाती उन्होंने साइन कर दिया कि इसमें 148 का नोटिस दे दीजिए। फ्रेंड्स, होल प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड। 148 के नोटिस के लिए प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी को अपना माइंड अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा। इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस, माई कार पुणे प्राइवेट लिमिटेड वर्सेज ITO, द बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट हैज हेल्ड दैट in once under whether it is a settled position in law that grant of sanction by commissioner under section 151 is not a mechanical act on his part but is required to duly application of mind to reason recorded before granting sanction. Friends, it is the very important thing. Again, ये चीज आपको कैसे मालूम पड़ेगी? इसके लिए आपको फाइल का सर्च लेना पड़ेगा कि प्रिंसिपल सीआईटी ने जब इस पे साइन किया था उस टाइम क्या लिखा था। 14A का एक एडिशन है, एक नॉर्मल एडिशन है जो किसी भी फाइल में 2 लाख रुपया, 5 लाख, 10 लाख, 20 लाख रुपए का कर लेते हैं। जब भी मैं असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग मैंने अटेंड की है तो मुझे 14A के एडिशन के लिए सिर्फ इतना ही बोला कि हमारे ऊपर से एक सर्कुलर है इसलिए हम इसको एडिशन कर रहे हैं। फ्रेंड्स, the Supreme Court in the case of the PCIT versus GVK Project Technical Services Limited, it is held that if there is no exempt income, because 14A technical section जिसमें करंट ईयर का इन्वेस्टमेंट और लास्ट ईयर का इन्वेस्टमेंट दोनों को जोड़ के और उसके फॉर्मूला है, उस फॉर्मूले से 14A का डिसअलाउंस करना है। फ्रेंड्स, यदि आपके एग्जेम्प्ट इनकम नहीं है, 14A क्यों लाया है सेक्शन को? बिकॉज जब किसी पर्सन के एग्जेम्प्ट इनकम होती है तो उसके सामने कुछ एक्सपेंसेज होते हैं। एग्जेम्प्ट इनकम भी है और टैक्सेबल इनकम भी है और उसके सामने एक्सपेंसेज भी है। तो डिपार्टमेंट एग्जेम्प्ट इनकम के लिए कितना एक्सपेंसेज हुआ और टैक्सेबल इनकम के लिए कितना एक्सपेंसेज हुआ, इस दोनों को अलग अलग नहीं कर सकती है। इसके लिए डिपार्टमेंट ने सेक्शन 14A लाया कि 14A का एक फॉर्मूला डिसाइड कर दिया। फ्रेंड्स, यदि आपके एग्जेम्प्ट इनकम नहीं है then there is no disallowance of the section 14A. exempt income से ज्यादा 14A का disallowance नहीं कर सकते हैं। For example, your exempt income is 1 lakh, but when we calculate the disallowance under section 14A, then the figure comes 5 lakhs rupees. But your exempt income is only 2 lakhs rupees, then your disallowance is only 2 lakhs rupees. Friends, again next situation, यदि आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट सपोज 10 लाख रुपए का है, कई बार आपका 14A के हिसाब से डिसअलाउंस 15 लाख रुपए का आ गया। इफ योर टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट इज 10 lakhs rupees बट योर डिसअलाउंस इज 15 lakhs rupees एज पर 14A, then again the only disallowance is only for the 10 lakhs rupees. Investment से ज्यादा आपका disallowance नहीं हो सकता. In PCIT versus Caref Builder and Construction Private Limited, the Supreme Court has held that SLP dismissed against High Court ruling that disallowance under Section 14A cannot exceed exempt income. Exempt income से ज्यादा disallowance 14A का नहीं हो सकता है. And again the PCIT versus India Bull Capital Services Limited, the Supreme Court has held that where an appellate proceeding High Court opinion that disallowance calculated under Section 14A could not exceed value of investment itself. Investment से ज्यादा इसमें 14A का disallowance नहीं हो सकता है. Friends, in the PCIT versus Reliance Ports and Terminal Limited, again the Bombay High Court has held that disallowance under Section 14A cannot be made more than income. Exempt income से ज्यादा 14A का disallowance नहीं हो सकता है. Friends, अभी जितने भी अपन केस लॉ डिस्कस कर रहे हैं ये आपके कहाँ काम आएंगे? अभी तक जब अपन असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग के अंदर केस लॉ देते थे तो नॉर्मली असेसिंग ऑफिसर केस लॉ को कंसीडर नहीं करते थे. बट नाउ इन द फेसलेस असेसमेंट your each and every case law will be referred and considered. Friends, अभी गुप्ता जी ने अपने को बताया था कि ड्राफ्ट असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के अंदर ईच एंड एवरी केस लॉ जो आपने दिया है उसका सबको रेफर किया या नहीं किया उसके लिए पर्टिकुलर अथॉरिटी है और वो अथॉरिटी चेक करेगी कि हर केस लॉ को कवर किया गया है या नहीं किया गया है. फ्रेंड्स, अभी फेसलेस असेसमेंट के अंदर यदि आपको लगता है कि पर्टिकुलर एडिशन होने वाला है उसका यदि आप कोई भी साइटेशन देखोगे तो आपको यदि 100 साइटेशन फेवर में है तो 2 साइटेशन अगेंस्ट में भी मिलेंगे. फ्रेंड्स, आपको 100 साइटेशन जो फेवर में है यदि आप उसको पढ़ लोगे तो आपको आपके फेवर के जो जजमेंट है उसमें से 4-5 जजमेंट आपको आपके फेवर के मिलेंगे जो पर्टिकुलर आपके केस से सेट बैठते हैं. फ्रेंड्स, उनको आपको जब भी आपका सबमिशन है फेसलेस असेसमेंट में उसको प्रॉपर ढंग से देना है. फेसलेस असेसमेंट में कुछ भी इस तरह का एडिशन नहीं होगा जो कई बार एक एसएससी या एआर सोचते हैं कि इसमें फेसलेस है इसलिए कुछ भी एडिशन हो जाएगा. फ्रेंड्स, इसमें एक पर्टिकुलर टेक्निकल टीम है जो फेसलेस असेसमेंट को देखेगी और उसमें अननेसेसरी का कोई भी असेसमेंट नहीं होगा जो एसएससी को परेशान करे. फ्रेंड्स, बट आपका सबमिशन प्रॉपर होना चाहिए और टाइमली होना चाहिए. Friends, in the case of the PCIT versus Godrej Investment Limited, यदि एसएससी ने अपने हिसाब से कोई डिसअलाउंस किया है 14A का डिसअलाउंस करने के बाद में एसेसिंग ऑफिसर ने विदाउट एनी डिससेटिस्फेक्शन रूल 8D के हिसाब से अगेन यदि उसको डिसअलाउंस किया है then it is not justifiable where assessing officer rejected CO motu disallowance made by the SSC under section 14A without recording any dissatisfaction. Tribunal was justifying in holding that rule 8D could not be invoked. यदि एक बार assessing officer यदि एक बार SSC ने अपने हिसाब से यदि 14A का disallowance किया है then without giving any dissatisfaction assessing officer उसको चेंज नहीं कर सकता है. Friends, जब भी असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के अंदर आपको यदि लगता है कि इस असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के अंदर प्राइमा फेसी ये मिस्टेक है देन व्हाट वी फाइल द रेक्टिफिकेशन एप्लीकेशन अंडर सेक्शन 154 कि इसमें प्राइमा फेसी कैलकुलेशन में मिस्टेक है, ये मिस्टेक है. इस तरह से 154 की एक अपन एप्लीकेशन फाइल करते हैं. 154 की एप्लीकेशन फाइल करने का एक टाइम पीरियड है. यदि ITAT के अंदर आपको लगता है कि कोई आपका असेसमेंट ऑर्डर गलत बन गया है, सॉरी ट्रिब्यूनल ऑर्डर गलत बन गया है, ITAT का ऑर्डर गलत बन गया है, तो आप क्या करोगे? फ्रेंड्स, इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस इन द ITAT वी फाइल द MA एप्लीकेशन, मिसलिनियस एप्लीकेशन कि पर्टिकुलर पर्टिकुलर ऑर्डर इज द रॉन्ग ड्राफ्टेड बाय द ऑनरेबल ट्रिब्यूनल मेंबर. फ्रेंड्स, अपने को किस तरह से लगेगा कि मेरा ऑर्डर गलत है? बिकॉज यदि आपके फेवर में नहीं है कोई भी ऑर्डर तो अपने को लगता है ये तो गलत है. ऐसा नहीं है. फ्रेंड्स, जो केस लॉ किए हैं उस केस लॉ का जिक्र, उस केस लॉ को यदि उसके ऑर्डर के अंदर डील नहीं किया है, ऑनरेबल मेंबर ने यदि उस केस लॉ को उस ऑर्डर में लेने से रह गए और आपके अगेंस्ट में वो ऑर्डर पास किया है, then you can file the MA application before the again tribunal. Friends, आपने जो केस के हैं वो हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के, जुरिडिक्शनल हाई कोर्ट के हैं और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के हैं, और जुरिडिक्शनल हाई कोर्ट के और जजमेंट को और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट को यदि ऑनरेबल मेंबर ने, ट्रिब्यूनल मेंबर ने उसको कंसीडर नहीं किया है, देन यू कैन फाइल द MA एप्लीकेशन कि सर यू हैव नॉट फॉलोड द हाई कोर्ट एंड द सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट. फ्रेंड्स, आपने जिस दिन हियरिंग की थी, हियरिंग करने के 90 दिन के अंदर यदि आपको ऑर्डर नहीं मिलता है, यदि आपको ऑर्डर 95 डेज में मिलता है और आपका ऑर्डर आपके अगेंस्ट में है, friends, you can file the MA application that we have not received the order in the time period, because ITAT के रूल के हिसाब से 90 दिन के अंदर आपको ऑर्डर मिलना चाहिए. 90 दिन में यदि ऑर्डर नहीं मिलता है, then you can file the MA order, MA application. Friends, ITAT के अंदर वेरियस बेंचेज हैं. एक बेंच ने यदि कोई फेवर में जजमेंट दिया है और आपकी बेंच ने यदि वो जजमेंट को फॉलो नहीं किया है, then you can file again MA application. Your coordinate bench has given the various judgment on this particular issue and you have not rely on that particular judgment. Friends, in the Amor Jewels Private Limited versus DCIT, the court has held that if there is no discussion whatsoever by the tribunal of the various case law detailed in the submission filed by the SSC, the order is not speaking and has to be recalled. Friends, यदि आपने जो जजमेंट साइटेशन दिए हैं और वो जजमेंट साइटेशन यदि ऑनरेबल मेंबर ने डिस्कस नहीं की है ऑर्डर के अंदर, देन you can file the MA application. In the PCIT versus MJ Exports Private Limited, friends, यदि ITAT ने सिर्फ जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन दे दिया कि आपने जो साइटेशन दिए हैं वो जनरल साइटेशन है, ओनली जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन देने से काम नहीं चलेगा. यदि ITAT आपके जजमेंट को नहीं मान रही है कि आपने जो जजमेंट दिया है वो पर्टिकुलर केस से रिलेटेड नहीं है या पर्टिकुलर केस में अप्लाई नहीं होता है, देन ITAT को उसके कॉन्ट्री डिसीजन देना पड़ेगा कि आपका जजमेंट इसमें क्यों अप्लाई नहीं हो रहा है. ओनली जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन देने से इसमें काम नहीं चलेगा. फ्रेंड्स, इन द यूनिवर्सल कोल्ड स्टोरेज लिमिटेड वर्सेस ITAT, इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस ITAT ने फर्स्ट हियरिंग के अंदर केस को एक्सपार्टी कर दिया था. फर्स्ट हियरिंग में AR की साइड से, SSC की साइड से कोई अपीयर नहीं हुआ और ITAT ने उस ऑर्डर को एक्सपार्टी पास कर दिया और MNA के फेवर में कर दिया. फ्रेंड्स, यदि फर्स्ट हियरिंग के अंदर यदि आप अपीयर नहीं होते हो, then ITAT has given to the reasonable opportunity to you, and the Madras High Court has seen in this particular order that subsequent order जो थे, पहले के जो ऑर्डर थे और बाद के जो ऑर्डर है वो SSC के फेवर में है on this particular ground only. Then the Madras High Court has held that the tribunal has recalled this particular matter and again reheard. Friends, in the Anand Jain versus ITO, this is a very important case. Friends, in this particular case, the filing of the delay of the 420 days. फ्रेंड्स, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई केस आया बाद में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की केस आपकी हियरिंग हो गई, आपका ऑर्डर आ गया. आपका ऑर्डर आने के 1 साल के बाद में सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई ऑर्डर आता है और जो आपके ऑर्डर से मैच करता है. फ्रेंड्स, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यदि पर्टिकुलर केस में फेवर दे दिया और आपका केस अगेंस्ट में है, बिकॉज उस टाइम हाई कोर्ट का जजमेंट आपके अगेंस्ट में था. सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई केस आने के बाद या हाई कोर्ट का कोई केस आने के बाद जो आपके केस से मैच करता है, सेम फैक्ट्स है, देन यू कैन फाइल द MA एप्लीकेशन. दैट बाद में भी यदि कोई सुप्रीम कोर्ट का केस आया है, बिकॉज सुप्रीम कोर्ट है जो कोई नया रूल नहीं बनाती है, जो एग्जिस्टिंग लॉ है, एग्जिस्टिंग लॉ को सिर्फ क्लेरिफाई किया है. तो एग्जिस्टिंग लॉ को क्लेरिफाई करने के कारण यदि आपके केस के ऊपर इफेक्ट आता है, देन यू कैन filed the MA application. इस पर्टिकुलर केस में 420 दिन का डिले था, जो ITAT ने एक्सेप्ट किया कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कोई केस आया है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के केस आने के कारण ये पर्टिकुलर केस SSC के फेवर में जाता है. Then again the Supreme ITAT has admitted this particular case. Waiver of loan and interest. This is a very important case. यदि आपने बैंक से वन टाइम सेटलमेंट कर दिया, आपके बैंक आपका 200 करोड़ रुपए का लोन है, 200 करोड़ रुपए का लोन बैंक ने 25 करोड़ रुपए के अंदर वन टाइम सेटलमेंट किया कि आप 25 करोड़ रुपए यू पे. फ्रेंड्स, देन व्हाट इज द 175 करोड़? व्हाट अबाउट द 175 करोड़? 175 करोड़ का क्या होगा? वेदर दिस 175 करोड़ इज योर इनकम और नॉट? दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, इंटरेस्ट का वेवर था, उसमें 50 करोड़ रुपए सपोज इंटरेस्ट का वेव किया है, देन 50 करोड़ रुपए इंटरेस्ट इज योर इनकम और नॉट? फ्रेंड्स, यदि वन टाइम सेटलमेंट के अंदर कोई भी लोन का वेवर होता है, देन इट इज नॉट टैक्सेबल. ओनली मेट की लायबिलिटी लगेगी. लेकिन जब ये केस आया था, उस टाइम उसके ऊपर मेट की भी लायबिलिटी नहीं थी, बिकॉज उस टाइम मेट पर्टिकुलर केस प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट के थ्रू उस पर्टिकुलर लोन को रूट नहीं किया था. देन मेट लायबिलिटी इज नॉट केम इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस. बट बाद में सेक्शन को अमेंड किया कि इस तरह का कोई भी यदि लोन का वेव होता है, उसको प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट से ही आपको रूट करना है और उसके ऊपर मेट की लायबिलिटी आएगी. फ्रेंड्स, देन व्हाट अबाउट द इंटरेस्ट? इंटरेस्ट के लिए क्या होगा? इंटरेस्ट इज नॉट टैक्सेबल अंडर सेक्शन 41(1) and 28(4). Value of any benefit pursued, whether or not convertible into money arising from business, is considerable as a business income. Friends, in the Mahindra and Mahindra case, it is very much clarified that section 41(1) apply and there is no taxability in the waiver of the loan and the interest. This is the very interested case. Also, waiver of interest disallowed under section 43(b) is not taxable. Friends, only routing from the profit and loss account, then it is taxable. इस जब ये पर्टिकुलर केस था, उस टाइम इस टैक्सेबल नहीं हुआ था, लेकिन बट नाउ इट इज द टैक्सेबल because now it is the compulsory to route from the profit and loss account under made liability. Friends, यदि आपकी कोई पुरानी ट्रेडिंग लायबिलिटी है आपकी बुक्स में, whether it is taxable or not, it is the very important case of the Supreme Court that SLP dismissed against High Court ruling that waiver of repayment of certain amount in respect of which there was no allowance or deduction claimed by SEC during previous year amount to be capital receipt and not liable to tax under section 41(1). 41(1) के अंदर कौन सा चीज टैक्सेबल करते हैं? यदि कोई प्रीवियस एक्सपेंसेज है जो अपन ने क्लेम किया है और बाद में अपनी बैलेंस शीट में एज ए लायबिलिटी खड़ा है और अपने को नहीं देना है, बाद में आप नहीं छूट देते उस आदमी को, पर्टिकुलर आदमी को पैसा, देन इट इज टैक्सेबल अंडर सेक्शन 41(1). बिकॉज उसकी टाइम लिमिट चली जाती है, पुराना रीओपन नहीं कर सकते हैं, देन इट इज टैक्सेबल अंडर सेक्शन 41(1). बट 41(1) एक लिमिटेड सेक्शन है, हर किसी चीज को 41(1) के अंदर टैक्सेबल नहीं कर सकते हैं. Then in the case of the Supreme Court, in various case law, it is clarified by the High Court and the Supreme Court that where SSC had shown outstanding trade payables in the books of account for last 3 years in absence of any evidence on record that there was a final remission or cessation of a trading liability or any part of it during relevant previous year, provision of section 41(1) is not applied. Friends, 41(1), 148, the 271(c) and section 68. These 4-5 section is very important section in whole income tax. Friends, जब भी किसी ऑर्डर के अंदर एडिशन होता है, the assessing officer initiated the penalty under section 271(c). एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट के अंदर 271(c) के अंदर नोटिस देता है. अभी सेक्शन चेंज कर दिया है, ये 271(c) इसलिए मैं ले रहा हूं बिकॉज अभी काफी अपील पेंडिंग है 271C की। फ्रेंड्स, जब भी ऑर्डर बनाता है उसके साथ में सेक्शन 274C रीड विद सेक्शन 271C का एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट के अंदर नोटिस देता है। पेनल्टी क्यों लगती है? वेदर यू हैव गिवन एनी इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स और कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम। आप दोनों चीज कभी साथ में नहीं कर सकते कि कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम भी आपका साथ में है और इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट भी साथ में है। जब असेसिंग ऑफिसर ये नोटिस देता है तब एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट के अंदर नोटिस देता है। वो उसमें लिखता नहीं है कि आपकी पेनल्टी इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ फैक्ट्स के लिए है या इनकम के लिए है। नंबर 1, वहां पे असेसिंग ऑफिसर गलती करता है। सेकंड गलती असेसिंग ऑफिसर कहां करता है कि जहां असेसमेंट ऑर्डर बन रहा है, असेसमेंट ऑर्डर में जिस पेरा के अंदर उसने एडिशन किया है वहां पे उसको एक लाइन लिखनी पड़ेगी कि पेनल्टी अंडर सेक्शन 271C विल बी सेपरेटली इनिशिएटेड फॉर द कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम और इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स। यदि उसने वहां पे इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स लिखा है और नोटिस आपको कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम के लिए दिया है, आपके पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी। यदि उसने दोनों चीजों के लिए नोटिस दिया है, इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स एंड कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम, तो भी आपकी पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी, बिकॉज द असेसिंग ऑफिसर हिमसेल्फ इज द डाउटेड whether it is a concealment of the income or whether it is the inaccurate particular of the facts. यदि उसने ऑर्डर बनाते वक्त जहां पे एडिशन करना है वहां पे नहीं लिखा है कि पेनल्टी अंडर सेक्शन 271C इज द सेपरेटली इनिशिएटेड, और जहां पे ऑर्डर खत्म होता है, बिकॉज कई बार ऑर्डर के अंदर 4-5 एडिशन होते हैं अलग अलग, कई बार असेसिंग ऑफिसर एडिशन की जगह पे नहीं लिख के एंड में लिखता है कि पेनल्टी अंडर सेक्शन 271C इज द सेपरेटली इनिशिएटेड। फ्रेंड्स, पेनल्टी कैन नॉट बी लेविड, बिकॉज जहां पे एडिशन करना है, एडिशन हुआ है, उसी जगह पे उनको सेपरेट ये लाइन लिखनी है। नंबर 1, सिर्फ ऑर्डर के नीचे एक जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन डाल दिया कि पेनल्टी अंडर सेक्शन 271C इज बी सेपरेटली इनिशिएटेड, पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी। यदि आपका जो नोटिस दिया है उसमें पर्टिकुलर एक ही चीज पे टिक नहीं किया है कि कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम है या इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स है, आपकी पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी। नंबर 3 थिंग, ये तो सिर्फ ऑर्डर बन गया और पेनल्टी का नोटिस दे दिया। जब एक्चुअल पेनल्टी इनिशिएटेड होती है तब वापस आपको पेनल्टी का एक नोटिस आता है, उसके बाद में आपको सोकोज नोटिस आता है कि आपको पेनल्टी क्यों लगेगी। यदि ऑर्डर के अंदर कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम है और यदि सोकोज नोटिस में जहां पे पेनल्टी का सोकोज नोटिस दिया है वहां पे इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स लिख दिया बाय मिस्टेक, फ्रेंड्स, पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी। यदि ऑर्डर जो बना रहा है पेनल्टी का, उसके अंदर यदि इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स लिख दिया कि इनिशिएटेड फॉर द इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स, फ्रेंड्स, पेनल्टी नहीं लगेगी। पेनल्टी के 99% ऑर्डर एसएससी के फेवर के हैं, बिकॉज 5 जगह है ऑर्डर बनाने से लेके पेनल्टी ऑर्डर बनाने तक, 5 जगह में से एक जगह तो असेसिंग ऑफिसर बाय मिस्टेक गलती हो जाती है उनसे। वो पर्टिकुलर मिस्टेक का बेनिफिट इज गोज टू द एसएससी इन द पीसीआईटी वर्सेस गोवा रिसोर्ट एंड रिक्रिएशन प्राइवेट लिमिटेड। फ्रेंड्स, इन द सेकंड लाइन, फर्स्ट लाइन, where there was no record of satisfaction by the assessing officer in relation to any concealment of the income or furnishing inaccurate particulars by the assessee, notice issued for initiation of the penalty proceeding under section 271C, same being since Q known of the initiation of such proceeding, tribunal had rightly ordered to drop penalty proceeding. Friends, यदि उसने concealment of the income और furnishing inaccurate particular of the facts दोनों नोटिस के अंदर है, मीन्स assessing officer himself is then in doubt whether this particular addition for the inaccurate of the particular of the facts or concealment of the income. In the CIT versus Sampson, friends, the Bombay High Court has held that if For concealment of the income, general principle, order imposing penalty has to be made only ground on which penalty proceeding has been initiated. जिस ग्राउंड पे पेनल्टी प्रोसीडिंग इनिशिएट की है उसी ग्राउंड पे पेनल्टी लगनी चाहिए. यदि पेनल्टी के इनिशिएशन यदि इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर ऑफ द फैक्ट्स पे है और यदि पेनल्टी कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम पे लगती है देन देयर इज नो पेनल्टी. फ्रेंड्स, इट इज द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. जब भी पेनल्टी का नोटिस आता है तब आप असेसमेंट ऑर्डर देखो. असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के बाद में आपको नोटिस देखना है 274 रीड विद सेक्शन 271C का. उसके बाद में पेनल्टी प्रोसीडिंग चालू करनी है. बिकॉज इसमें दो जगह पहले ऑलरेडी मिस्टेक कर चुका है असेसिंग ऑफिसर, अभी थर्ड और फोर्थ स्टेज है. 90% केस में पेनल्टी ऑर्डर एक अलग असेसिंग ऑफिसर बनाता है और असेसमेंट ऑर्डर अलग असेसिंग ऑफिसर बनाता है. बिकॉज दोनों के ऑर्डर बनने में करीबन 1 साल का डिफरेंस रहता है. 90% केस में अलग अलग असेसिंग ऑफिसर हैं, इसलिए 90% केस में ये मिस्टेक असेसिंग ऑफिसर से होती है. Financial Services Private Limited, in the same case, friends, it is argued by me only that it is observed that while issuing the notice under section 274 read with section 271C, the notice has been given in the standard format and the assessing officer has not cut whether the penalty is for the inaccurate particular of the facts or concealment of the income. And in the case Dev versus additional CIT, the same thing, because we are running late time and I will not discuss. In the CIT versus Chris Tire Retrading and Rubber Industry, it is the very important case. यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर किसी भी इनकम को एस्टिमेट कर देता है तो एस्टिमेट जब भी असेसिंग ऑफिसर करेगा देयर इज नो पेनल्टी. यदि 2%, 1%, 3% इसने बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट रिजेक्ट कर दिया, असेसिंग ऑफिसर को लगता है कि आई कैन नॉट अंडर particular books of account, then assessing officer reject the books of account and estimate your whole income by nature of the business for 2%, 1%, 0.5% or 3%, and then if he initiated the penalty, there is no penalty for the estimate of the business. The High Court has verified. Friends, IT versus Reliance Petro Product Private Limited, this is the same thing. Friends, SSC ने जो expenses किया था और जो क्लेम किया था, असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने उस एक्सपेंसेस को डिसअलाउ कर दिया. एंड अगेन देयर इज नो रिटर्न ऑन द पर्टिकुलर नोटिस. द स्टैंडर्ड नोटिस हैज बीन गिवन द कंसीलमेंट ऑफ द इनकम और फर्निशिंग इनएक्यूरेट पर्टिकुलर्स ऑफ द इनकम. सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज क्लेरिफाइड that if assessing officer has disallowed the and he has not mentioned and given the standard notice for the concealment of the income and inaccurate particular of the facts, there is no penalty, friends. In the Paswara Petroleum Limited, friends, businessman ने business loss बताया था, SSC ने business loss बताया था, and assessing officer ने उसको capital loss treat किया. आपने कोई facts नहीं छुपाए हैं, आपने कोई income को concealment नहीं किया है. It is your view that is the business loss, and a departmental view that it is the capital loss. Friends, there is only this is the change of the opinion. कि कोई कहता है कि business loss and someone says that it is the capital loss. There is no penalty. In the Allahabad High Court has very much specifically said. Friends, the share capital and the share premium, section 68 matter. This is the general addition under section 68. Whenever assessing officer think that you have not clarified the identity, creditworthiness, and the genuineness of any transaction, and the money has been credited in your books of account, the sum has been credited in your books of account, then section 68 has been applied. Friends, it is the very important section, section 68. The section 68, any sum has been credited in your books of account. Friends, what is the sum? The definition of sum is very important. Any bank transaction and cash has been credited in your books of account. यदि ओपनिंग बैलेंस है, ओपनिंग बैलेंस को आपने कोई कन्वर्ट कर दिया, ट्रेडिंग लायबिलिटी है आपकी, ट्रेडिंग लायबिलिटी के अगेंस्ट में आपने शेयर इश्यू कर दिए, then this particular section 68 is not applied because there is no sum has been credited in your books of account. Friends, in the barter system, if any transaction has been held, then section 68 is not applied because there is no sum credited in your books of account. It is very important section. सेक्शन छोटा है बट इसमें सबसे ज्यादा एडिशन सेक्शन 68 में होते हैं. फ्रेंड्स, in the case of the share capital and the share premium, if the SSE and the company issue the shares on the high premium, then it is the prerogative of the board of directors that he can issue the shares at any amount before 2013-14 up to assessment year 12-13. If any SSE has issued the share at any price, friends, the department cannot challenge that particular premium, subject to you prove the identity, creditworthiness and the genuineness of this particular transaction. After 1/4/2013, the section 5627B has been inserted by the Finance Act 2012 that you determine the value of the share and calculate the premium by the valuation officer. Friends, उस चीज पे मैं बाद में आता हूँ. If you have issued the share on the high premium, then it is the prerogative of the board that they can issue the share at the any price. Friends, in the ITO versus Single General Traders Private Limited, the Bombay Tribunal has held that where SSE company issued share at a high premium and genuineness of the transaction and identity and creditworthiness of the share applicant were proved, addition under section 68 could not be made mainly on the ground that SSE company performance did not justify high value of the share premium. Friends, section 68 is very specifically said that if you identity, creditworthiness and the genuineness, the three ingredients of the section 68, if you prove, then there is no addition under section 68. Friends, in the PCIT versus Ami Industries India Private Limited, the Bombay High Court has said that the first appellant authority had returned a clear finding of the fact that SSE had discharged its onus of the proving identity of the creditors, genuineness of the transaction and creditworthiness of the creditor, which finding of fact stood affirmed by the tribunal, and revenue had not been able to show any perversity in the aforesaid finding of the fact by authority below. Friends, the identity, creditworthiness and the genuineness, the three ingredients we prove before any authority. Friends, there is no addition under section 68. The PCIT versus Rohtak Chain Company Private Limited, again this is the same case law. It is the prerogative of the board of directors to determine the value of the share and the premium amount of the share. There is no addition if you prove the identity, creditworthiness and the genuineness. The Supreme Court has held SLP dismissed against High Court ruling that once genuineness, creditworthiness and the identity of the investor but established, no addition could be made. Friends, the Shri Rajlakshmi Textile Park Limited, again all the three ingredients has been proved, there is no addition. VR Global Energy Private Limited, again the Supreme Court has dismissed the SLP, and it is the very important case law. Friends, you read the second line. SSE allotted share to a company in settlement of pre-existing liability to SSE to said company. Since no cash was involved in the transaction of said allotment of share, section 68 is not involved because there is no sum has been credited in the books of account in the relevant previous year. Friends, it is the very important case law where there is no cash involvement. No section 68 has been applied because source you have not to prove because you have not credited any sum. The definition of sum is very much clarified by the Supreme Court. What is the sum? In section 80G, friends, if you give the donation in kind then section 80G benefit you will not get. The same condition satisfied here. If in kind, if you are doing any transaction, then section 68 is not applied. For the opening balance, there is no addition because and there is no sum has been Latita Jewelry Mart Private Limited versus ACIT. Friends, we are assessing in the second paragraph, friends, we are assessing share at a premium and determine value of share based on the value of the company on date of the issue of share, including assessing officer not found any defect or error in valuation of share by assessing a company. Revaluation of share by assessing officer under Rule 11 UA was not unjustified. In this particular case, the statement has been recorded by the investigation wing, and the information has been came that on the high premium, this particular share has been issued. Friends, the Chennai tribunal has held that the premium amount is decided by the board of directors. It is the prerogative of the board of directors, and the assessing officer cannot apply the 11 UA before the assessment year 13-14. Friends, in the PCIT versus NRE Iron and Steel Private Limited, it is again very important case law in the favor of the department. Friends, in this particular case, assessment order was in the favor of the revenue department की favor में था assessment order. The CIT appeal has been given the relief to the SSC. ITAT has again given the relief to the SSC. High Court has given the relief to the SSC. But the Supreme Court has reversed the transaction, reversed the order that you have not proved the identity, creditworthiness and the genuineness of the transaction, and the assessment order again restored. Friends, this particular case is the ex parte order before the Supreme Court. Before the High Court, again, this particular order was the ex parte order. Friends, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस पर्टिकुलर केस के लिए 5 बार नोटिस सर्विस किया. 5 बार एसएससी को नोटिस मिला, but the SSC has not responded this particular and not attended before the Honorable Supreme Court. Friends, the Supreme Court has given the detailed order that the money has been came from the cell companies, Calcutta based companies. Their income is very minor income. Income is 500 rupees, and they are investing the 10 crore rupees in this particular company. Friends, CIT appeal, tribunal and the High Court, all the 3 authorities has given the favorable order, but Supreme Court has reversed the order only because the case has not been represented properly. Friends, because the order was the ex parte order. Friends, in this particular case, the review petition has been again filed before the Supreme Court. Review petition क्या होता है? जिस तरह से MA एप्लीकेशन ITAT के सामने फाइल करते हैं, सेक्शन 154 में रेक्टिफिकेशन एप्लीकेशन फाइल करते हैं, इसी तरह से सुप्रीम कोर्ट में रिव्यू पिटिशन फाइल करते हैं कि इस पर्टिकुलर ऑर्डर में मिस्टेक है. फ्रेंड्स, मिस्टेक क्या थी कि हमको नोटिस सर्विस नहीं बिकॉज ऑफ द चेंज ऑफ एड्रेस. द नोटिस सर्विस जो हुआ था वो AR के ऑफिस में नोटिस सर्विस किया था बिकॉज द ऑफिस ऑफ द कंपनी वाज द क्लोज. ऑथराइज रिप्रेजेंटेटिव के ऑफिस के अंदर नोटिस को सर्विस किया था. रिव्यू पिटीशन में ये लिया कि जो ऑथराइज था उसके आंखों का ऑपरेशन था, उसके कारण वो प्रॉपर्ली ऑफिस अटेंड नहीं कर पाए, इसके लिए वो नोटिस को नहीं देख पाए. फ्रेंड्स, तो डिपार्टमेंटल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव था सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, उन्होंने देखा कि जिस पर्टिकुलर पर्सन ने ये एफिडेविट दिया है कि मेरे आंखों का ऑपरेशन था और मैं पर्टिकुलर केस नोटिस नहीं देख पाया, उस पर्टिकुलर पर्सन ने ITAT को प्रॉपर्ली अटेंड किया है। जिस डेट का एफिडेविट था उस डेट पे वो प्रॉपर्ली अटेंड कर रहा था ITAT को। आंखों का ऑपरेशन उनका हुआ था, लेकिन आंखों का ऑपरेशन बाद में हुआ था। आंखों जिस पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे वो नोटिस सर्विस हुआ था उस टाइम पे पर्टिकुलर वो ऑफिस पर्टिकुलर पर्सन ने ITAT अटेंड किया था। फ्रेंड्स, फॉर आवर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, for benefit of the client, it is very important thing to think that not give any affidavit where reality is not involved. Friends, because departmental representative ने proper देखा कि इस particular person ने ITAT कब कब attend किया, because वो regular ITAT attend करते थे। This review petition को accept नहीं किया, and this order is as it is, NRA Iron and Steel Private Limited. Friends, in the ITO versus Mrs. Agarwal Cloth Agency Private Limited, again all the conditions of the section 68 has been satisfied. The identity, credit worthiness and the genuineness of the transaction. In this particular case, the information has came from the investigation wing that the SEC has taken the accommodation entry of rupees 1.25 crore rupees, and he has not proved the identity and credit worthiness. Friends, the identity, credit worthiness and genuineness, all the three ingredients of the section 68 has been furnished in this particular case, and the tribunal, Bombay tribunal has held that when three ingredients of the section 68 has been furnished by the SEC, there is no addition under section 68. The same thing in the ITO versus Financial Services Private Limited, when three ingredients of the section 68 has been satisfied by the SEC, there is no addition under section 68. Addition of the loan, ITO versus Parmita Asar. Friends, there is no addition under section 68 if again you have satisfied three conditions: identity, credit worthiness and the genuineness of the section 68. There is no addition of the loan. Friends, in the Vidata Tower Private Limited, the Bombay High Court has held that he as source of the source is not proved by the SEC before insertion of the proviso of the section 68. Section 68 में 1/4/2013 से एक प्रोविजो इंसर्ट किया है कि एसईसी को सोर्स ऑफ द सोर्स भी प्रूव करना है, बट 1/4/2013 से पहले यदि कोई केस है उसमें सोर्स ऑफ सोर्स एसईसी को प्रूव नहीं करना है। 1/4/2013 के बाद में सोर्स ऑफ सोर्स भी प्रूव करना है कि जहां से आपको लोन आया है उस पर्टिकुलर पर्सन के अकाउंट में वो पैसा कहां से आया। उसके भी थ्री इंग्रेडिएंट्स सेक्शन 68 के आपको प्रूव करने हैं कि जो सोर्स है दैट इज द रीजनेबल सोर्स और नॉट। The Celtex Havala case, it is the very old case, but now the Supreme Court has held that where SSC had submitted all the purchase bill, transportation bill, confirmed copy of accounts, weight registration seller as their income tax return and payment was made through check, there is no disallowance. Friends, the Celtex Havala case has been very oldest case, but again when I attend the ITAT, every day I heard for the 2-3 cases of the Celtex Havala case where assessing officer has not doubted your sale. सेल को तो assessing officer ने accept कर दिया, but assessing officer purchase your ingenuine. यदि purchase नहीं है तो सेल कहाँ से होगी? Friends, in that particular case, यदि आपकी purchase को ingenuine सेल accept कर रहे हैं और purchase ingenuine कर रहे हैं, then the High Court has held that only profit amount can be taxed. Whole purchase cannot be disallowed. Though the SSC has not proved of the genuineness of the purchase and sales, yet if the assessing officer accepted the entire purchase cannot be disallowed. Whole यदि आपकी सेल को एक्सेप्ट कर रहा है तो यदि सेल किया है तो उसके सामने कुछ तो परचेज किया होगा. Then the nature of the business, only profit is taxable. Friends, in the PCIT versus Pinakin P. Panam, section 68 and section 69C, even if the purchase made by the SEC are to be treated as a bogus, it does not mean the entire amount cannot be disallowed. As the AO did not dispute the consumption of the raw material and complete of the work, only a percentage of the net profit of total turnover can be estimated. Only profit can be estimated, friends. The Param Shakti Distributor Private Limited, same thing, friends. Then Mohabbat Haji Adam, friends, this is the very important case. Even if the purchase are bogus, the entire purchase amount cannot be added, as the department had not disputed sale and there were no discrepancy between the purchase and the sale. The purchase cannot be rejected without distributing the sale. In the case of the trader, the addition has to be restricted टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ द जीपी. उस पर्टिकुलर बिजनेस के अंदर यदि आपने सेल टैक्स हवाला ट्रांजैक्शन को हटा दो तो कितना जीपी आता है, उतना जीपी ओनली ऐड कर सकता है. फ्रेंड, इन द कमल स्टील वर्सेज आईटीओ द सेम थिंग. सौरभ सूर्यकांत मेहता इज द सेम थिंग in the Kishan Chand Chelaram versus CIT. This is the very important case law. Friends, before the investigation thing or before the any authority, if any person has given any statement that I give the accommodation on that particular statement, if your case has been reopened and the assessing officer has not given the cross examination opportunity to that particular person, friends, your assessment is null and void, your addition is null and कोई भी पर्सन कुछ भी स्टेटमेंट दे सकता है, बट यदि आपको उसको क्रॉस एग्जामिनेशन का चांस आपको नहीं देते हैं और ओनली द असेसिंग ऑफिसर एंड द डिपार्टमेंट इज रिलाई ऑन हिज स्टेटमेंट, पर्सन हु इज गिविंग द एडवर्स स्टेटमेंट, देन you take the benefit of the cross examination. If assessing officer not provided the cross examination, then Kishan Chand Chelaram versus CIT, the Supreme Court has held that the department have to give the cross examination opportunity to the SSC before using any adverse document for the SSC. From HR Mehta versus ACIT, friends, the Bombay High Court has again given the very good judgment for the cross examination, where SSC had taken loan from N and the assessing officer added loan amount in the income of the SSC under section 68 on the basis of no confirmation letter had been obtained from N. Since loan was advanced and prepaid by account pay check, there is no addition. Friends, in the Amitabh Bansal versus ITO, the same thing, the basis of the cross examination has not been provided, there is no addition. Friends, it is the very important case. At the time of the retirement of the partner, if any amount is from the partnership firm, whether it is taxable or not, if any amount at the time of the retirement, if any person receive from that particular firm, then it is not taxable. It is clarified by the Bombay High Court and the several High Court and the Supreme Court that at the time of the retirement, if any partner receive any amount from the firm, there is no taxable. Friends, in the PCIT versus amount received by retiring partner on retirement from firm on account of goodwill will not be subjected to tax as a capital gain in his hand. Friends, there is no capital gain at that particular point of time and there is no income from other sources. Whole amount is the exempt. In the DCIT versus Srimati Vasumati Prapulchan Singhvi, the same case law. In crux, at the time of the retirement, if any person takes any amount from the firm as a goodwill, as a right, there is no taxability. Friends, now the long-term capital gain taxability. Now it is a very important and very around 10,000 appeal is the pending before the CIT appeal and the tribunal for the long-term capital gain as the penny stock. What is the penny stock? How you define that this particular script shares has been penny stock? Friends, penny stock, the department has taken the view that there is no business in the company and in the 1 year, if 10 rupees shares goes to the 300, 400, 500 rupees, and only limited transaction, then it is the penny stock. Friends, it is the department view, but you are doing the transaction at the stock exchange, either National Stock Exchange, either Bombay Stock Exchange. Who is purchasing the share and who is selling the share, both are not known. You have purchased the share from the recognized stock exchange, sell the share from the recognized stock exchange. Either you have purchased the share from the preferential through the company. Directly you have purchased the share from the company in the physical mode or the demat mode. How it is the penny stock and it is the unexplained under section 68. And it is not a long-term capital gain. Friends, the Bombay ITAT in the case of Dipesh Ramesh Vardhan very recently held that the assessing officer has not discharged the onus of contraventing the document evidence furnished by the SEC and by bringing on record any cognate material to sustain the addition. Friends, only the assessing officer says that it is the price rigging, manipulation has been levied. Only that basis there is no addition. You are purchasing the share from recognized stock exchange, sell the share from the recognized stock exchange. Who is purchasing the share? You don't know. You have directly purchased the share from the either company, either stock exchange. Your share in the demat account for the 12 months or more than 12 months, then it is the long-term capital gain. The various tribunal, including Bombay Tribunal, has held that there is no price, whether this is the price rigging, but the assessing officer has to be proved that this is the price rigging, and you have given the cash to the person who is purchasing your shares. If these things are not the proof, then this long-term capital gain cannot be disallowed. Friends, in the Suresh Kumar Agarwal versus ACIT, the Delhi ITAT has held that if all the things are the proof, 12 months share are held in the demat account or either in the physical mode, then your long-term capital gain exemption cannot be disallowed. In the Vijay Ratan Mittal versus DCIT, the Bombay ITAT has held. In the Chandra Prakash Junjunwala versus ITAT, Mahavir Jawhar versus ITO, Vidhi Malhotra versus ITO, that Meghraj Singh Shekhawat versus DCIT, the Jaipur Tribunal has held. So many tribunal has held that your long-term capital gain exemption cannot be disallowed only because of the assumption and presumption by the assessing officer. Friends, जब भी आपको 148 का नोटिस आता है, जब 148 का नोटिस आता है, उसके बाद में आप रिटर्न फाइल करते हो, उसके बाद में आप रीजन की कॉपी असेसिंग ऑफिसर से डिमांड करते हो. उस रीजन के अगेंस्ट में यदि आपने ऑब्जेक्शन फाइल किया है, ऑब्जेक्शन फाइल करने के बाद में यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने उस ऑब्जेक्शन को डिस्पोजल नहीं किया है और डायरेक्टली सबमिशन आपसे लेना चालू कर दिया, फ्रेंड्स, द कर्नाटक हाई कोर्ट हैज हेल्ड दैट योर रीअसेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड. यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने आपके ऑब्जेक्शन को डिस्पोजल नहीं किया है, then your assessment proceeding is null and void. Sometime what happen, जून के अंदर आपको रीजन की कॉपी दी कि why your case has been reopened. आपने जुलाई के अंदर उसका ऑब्जेक्शन फाइल किया. असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने फरवरी के अंदर, सपोज मार्च इज द टाइम बारी, और 5 मार्च को उसको ऑब्जेक्शन को डिस्पोजल करता है. इन बिटवीन आपसे सेवरल पेपर असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग में ले लेता है. बाद में उनको ध्यान आता है कि 5 मार्च को जाके उन्होंने ऑब्जेक्शन को डील किया, 15 मार्च को फाइनल ऑर्डर बना लेते हैं. देन अगेन योर असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड. 30 दिन का टाइम, जब भी ऑब्जेक्शन जो आपने फाइल किया है उसको डिस्पोजल किया है, ऑब्जेक्शन डिस्पोजल के और असेसमेंट ऑर्डर के बीच में रीजनेबल 30 दिन का टाइम होना चाहिए. कहीं सेक्शन में लिखा हुआ नहीं है 30 दिन, But in the various case law, it is decided that कि 30 दिन का एक रीजनेबल टाइम होना चाहिए. फ्रेंड्स, जब भी कोई ऑब्जेक्शन डिस्पोजल हुआ या नहीं हुआ है, उसको ये कैसे मालूम पड़ेगा कि ऑब्जेक्शन डिस्पोजल हुआ या नहीं हुआ है? ऑब्जेक्शन डिस्पोजल का एक स्पीकिंग ऑर्डर असेसिंग ऑफिसर को बनाना है. यदि उसने स्पीकिंग ऑर्डर नहीं बनाया है, यदि उसने सिर्फ 2 लाइन का ऑर्डर बना लिया कि योर ऑब्जेक्शन हैज बीन डिस्पोजल, फ्रेंड्स, अगेन योर होल असेसमेंट प्रोसीडिंग इज नल एंड वॉइड. जो ऑब्जेक्शन आपने रेज किया है, उस ऑब्जेक्शन को असेसिंग ऑफिसर को डील करना है और उस ऑब्जेक्शन को उसको प्रॉपर डिस्पोजल करना है. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, आपके असेसमेंट ऑर्डर बनने में और ऑब्जेक्शन के डिस्पोजल में 30 दिन का या 30 दिन से ज्यादा का टाइम होना चाहिए. फ्रेंड्स, जब भी 148 का नोटिस आता है, ये 3-4 चीजें आप पर्टिकुलर अपने को ध्यान रखनी है. नंबर 1, नोटिस टाइम फ्रेम, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, सेटिस्फेक्शन उन्होंने रिकॉर्ड किया है नहीं किया है. नंबर 3, अपने को रिटर्न भरने के बाद रीजन की कॉपी लेनी है, रीजन का ऑब्जेक्शन डालना है, रीजन का ऑब्जेक्शन डालने के बाद में रीजन का डिस्पोजल का वेट करना है. यदि रीजन के डिस्पोजल के पहले यदि वो पेपर लेते हैं, देन वेल एंड गुड, आपको पेपर देने हैं, बिकॉज इन द ITAT यू विल विन 101%. इस तरह के बेनिफिट CIT अपील में नहीं मिलते हैं. दीपक एक्सट्रैक्शन प्राइवेट लिमिटेड वर्सेज DCIT, चंद्र प्रकाश झुंझुनवाला वर्सेज DCIT. फ्रेंड्स, various high court has held that if objection has not been disposed, then whole assessment proceeding is null and void. Order passed within 4 weeks of the objection disposal is invalid. Already I have discussed in the Bharat Jantilal Patel versus Union of India, the Bombay High Court has held where assessing officer passed assessment order within the period of 4 weeks from the date of the rejection of the SSC's objection, reopening of the assessment order so passed being invalid. Asian Paint Limited versus DCIT, Bombay High Court has held that within the 4 weeks of the time period, if assessing officer has passed the assessment order, that is the invalid order. This is the again very important case. Validity of addition on issue which was not basis for the selection of case under CAS. CAS के अंदर सपोज आपका कोई इश्यू है, 14A का इश्यू है और आपका एडिशन अनसिक्योर्ड लोन का कर रहे हैं, जो कास के अंदर पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट नहीं है. फ्रेंड्स, इट इज द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. द कास में पर्टिकुलर रीजन नहीं है और यदि कोई भी दूसरा एस्पेक्ट उस फाइल के अंदर वो एसएससी ऑफिसर देख रहा है, तो उनको प्रिंसिपल CIT से राइटिंग के अंदर अप्रूवल लेना पड़ेगा कि मैं इस पर्टिकुलर फाइल में कास्ट के पॉइंट के अलावा ट्रेवल कर रहा हूं. फ्रेंड्स, in 90% cases the assessing officer has not taken the approval from the principal CID. It is seen in the various files I have seen, friends. In the Gandhiraj Majur Sehkari Sanstha Limited versus ITO, the Pune Tribunal has held कि यदि कास में पर्टिकुलर रीजन नहीं है और उसके बाहर यदि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ट्रेवल करता है, then the assessing officer has to taken the approval from the principal CIT. यदि कुछ भी दूसरा एडिशन किया हुआ है, then that particular addition is null and void. यदि उसने प्रिंसिपल CIT से अप्रूवल नहीं लिया है, तो इसके लिए अगेन आपको फाइल का सर्च लेना पड़ेगा कि उन्होंने प्रिंसिपल CIT से अप्रूवल लिया है या नहीं लिया है. In same thing is the Pune Tribunal, and the Bombay Tribunal and several tribunal has given the same case in this particular case. Friends, within the time frame and best of my knowledge, I will share my presentation and my experience. Friends, I have seen in the Bombay ITAT that only 50 chartered accountant from our fraternity out of 20,000 chartered accountant in Mumbai. Friends, 40,000 chartered accountant in Mumbai. Only 50 chartered accountant do the practice of the ITAT. In the assessment proceeding, all chartered accountant attended. In the CIT appeal, all the chartered accountant attended. But in the ITAT, you give the cases to the another counselor and the chartered accountant or the advocate. For we chartered accountant from the bottom, from the assessment proceeding, we know each and every fact. But at the time of the ITAT, we assign that particular case to the another chartered accountant and the advocate and give the fees of 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakhs rupees for argue the cases. Friends, I request you to attend the ITAT proceeding, and only 15 minutes, maximum 15 minutes time, you will get the judgment. They are very practical. Friends, moment you attend the ITAT, you will have the courage to attend before any authority. Why you assign the cases assigned to another chartered accountant when you know all the facts of the case? Friends, this is the humble request to you. You attend the ITAT proceeding. It is the good opportunity for our chartered accountant. And friends, when you attend the ITAT proceeding, you familiar with the so many case laws. Friends, and that if the assessment proceeding also you quote that case laws, and your litigation will not be long to long. Friends, with these words, I thanks to all my participants, Amit Agarwal, Nikunj, and all the coordinator of this particular Bhayander study circle. Friends, I have personally seen that all my young friends, Amit and Nikunj and Divya, all are doing very good work for our members. In the COVID time also, they have delivered the 17 lectures for our fraternity. Friends, I thanks to all my management committee members, Amit Agarwal, Nikunj, Divya. They are giving so much time to our fraternity. With these words, I thanks to each one of you. If any question.
Thank you, sir. I have one or two queries which I am posting. The first query is from Unmeshji Narvekar.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Know your assessee is the base of assessment, and without that, how best assessment is possible in faceless assessment era, as assessment is done by unknown. I think this query is from R.K. Gupta, sir.
Yes.
This query, I believe, was at the time of Gupta sir's session.
Yes.
In faceless assessment, what has been done is you will not know who is the assessing officer, who is the verification unit, and which unit is handling your case. But the assessing officer will definitely have all information about the assessee. So assessing officer or assessing unit or verification unit, they will have all records and they will know who is the assessee. So knowing the assessee is very much there to the officer who is completing the assessment. In case need arises for doing best judgment assessment under 144, then whatever material is available to the department, because earlier there was no material, only the written was there in the file, but now a lot of data is collected by the department from various agencies in SFT and all. So all that information will be available with them and the reasons for which the case has been selected for scrutiny. So on the basis of that, without the submission of assessee, best judgment assessment will be passed.
Any other queries?
I think everybody has understood so well.
Sir, shall I put a point?
Yes, sir. Yes, Unmeshji.
गुप्ता सर जी से थोड़ा एक पॉइंट था.
Yes, please.
Sir, know your SSC, basically knowing the business of the SSC, because the assessment basically is based on the nature of business that has been conducted by the SSC.
Yes.
And in most of the cases, it is found that whenever we do written submission, in spite of that, the nature of business is misunderstood, and the cases have been scrutinized, and the address are the assessments are issued. So that is where the point lies. Unless and until the true nature of business is understood by the AO, it will be still difficult for him to do the assessment. Now, what we are seeing, the trading business or the investment, capital gain, or the such type of thing, or in many cases, like if there is a commission business activity, whereas the entire turnover is been considered as a turnover instead of the commission income. So, like these cases, where unless and until the SSCs, see why in the previous era we have case to case, the SSC is knowing in and out depth knowledge of the business activity. Even today we are going for the audit, we are sending the person who has done the audit of that party, so that he knows the business nature. Even we are writing in our report, we have personally visited the client place, his business, understood the business, and accordingly the reports or the audit reports have been done. Same is the intention over the assessment also. But in faceless era, probably this is going to be a very challenging scenario. What we communicating may not be reaching in the real sense, in the real spirit to the faceless assessing unit, and could be a mismatch of the understanding, could result into a different assessment. That is a doubt, sir. Please.
So that is why, firstly, I told that drafting of your reply becomes very important. Whose duty is it to make the assessing officer aware of our business, assess his business? It is our duty, the professional's duty. We have to explain. And firstly, I mean, when the faceless assessment is starting, I told it will be issue based. For whatever issues, 2 or 3 issues it has been selected for scrutiny, only the queries will be limited to those issues. Now, those issues you have to explain with reference to the business of the SSC. Now, it is our duty to explain the business. While drafting the reply, you first say this is the business of the SSC, and in the light of SSC's this business, this issue is explained by me like this. That is where the drafting of the reply comes into becomes very important. So knowing the SSC means knowing the SSC's business in connection with the query that has been raised, or the red flag that has been raised, or the case has been selected for scrutiny. That issue has to be explained in the light of SSC's business. And if after submitting all reply, in the draft assessment order some addition has been proposed, and you feel that it has not been properly understood, then you can always ask for request for the personal hearing, and that personal hearing will be granted, like what we are discussing right now in one-to-one in the video conferencing. So there you can explain, sir, this is how I tried to explain. Maybe I was not clear in the reply, but this is what is the business, and in the light of this business, the reply which I submitted to the query, I mean, should be satisfactory, like that. So first thing is, I mean, this is a new thing. So what exactly happens, whether it is beneficial or whether it poses some problem, that only the time will tell once we go through the process. So initially at this stage, rather than raising the doubts or rather than having apprehensions ki what will happen, let us try and see how best.
Vishnu sir, for such a fantastic session. You have given deep insight of important case laws, and we thank you for taking out time and sharing your immense knowledge with our members. Now I request CA Amit Agarwal, Management Committee Member, Vasai Branch, and our immediate past convener to present formal vote of thanks for our today's speakers.
Thank you, Ritu. I propose my vote of thanks. It is really a pleasure to hear Shri R.K. Gupta sir, IRS, ex-Director General of Income Tax, on recent amendments in e-assessment procedures and practice. Sir has explained in very simple way, and sir has rightly said that we have to correctly draft all the things, so officers also can understand what we are writing and what we are want to say about the assessor's replies. And I also express my vote of thanks to CA Vishnu Agarwal sir, who always available for Bhayander Study Circle during his chairmanship when I was deputy convener. Whatever support we required from he is always there, and after that also is always there to support us in any manner. And today, as a speaker, sir has explained in such a simple manner and many case laws, which will definitely help us in our assessments during the many assessments which we require the case laws, and many things which we don't know. We can reply in this manner also. So this will helpful for all the members. With this, I thanks to RK Gupta sir and Vishnu Agarwal sir for giving your valuable time and sharing your vast knowledge with us. Thank you, sir.
I think there is one more query about faceless assessment. Draft order will be shared with assessee or not? Yes, definitely it will be shared. Once the draft order is there, the NEAC which receives the draft order from assessment unit, that NEAC will firstly uh, examine it with respect to the risk assessment strategy. Risk assessment is a kind of software or the program they have made whereby they will try to assess by machine as to whether the additions that have been proposed and considering the assessee's other information, this is likely to sustain or not, or what are the chances of if we leave this, or whether further studies to be done. Those kind of things will be done, and once it is decided that this draft is the draft correct and we should go ahead with that, it does not require any review, then it will be shared with the assessee with a show cause as to why this assessment order should not be made according to this draft. If the NEAC feels that the draft assessment order requires some review, because there are some additions which should not have been there, or there may be some additions which should have been there, then it will be given to review unit, and review unit, if it agrees, then again it will be shared with the assessee. If the review unit proposes some further changes into that, then it will be given to another AU, and that AU will give another draft. And once that draft is considered as final, then that draft will be. So whatever is the draft, NEAC considers that this should become the assessment order, that will be shared with the assessee, and assessee will be required to give the explanation or the reply to that. And after considering that reply, only the final assessment order will be made. So definitely we'll get the draft assessment order, which we did not used to get in the traditional assessment process. So that is a big advantage. Because यहाँ पर जो है after hearing के time पर we understand कि मतलब we have explained everything, and AO कहता हाँ yes okay सब फिर लाया, और बाद में when you get the order पता लगा उसमें 4 addition कर दिया. So this is the kind of situation was there, but now the situation will not be there. You will get the draft order in which specifically additions will be there, and in the final reply you have to pointedly submit your reply on the additions which have been proposed in the draft. So you will get ample opportunity. I think this faceless assessment process should prove to be beneficial to the assessees where which are suffering the harassment because of the frivolous additions. क्यों विष्णु sir?
Yes.
तो आपको क्या लगता है?
Yes. The faceless assessment is good, sir, because if we remember at the time of the ROC, when I was the article in the 1998, sir, मरीन लाइन स्टेशन तक ROC के अंदर लाइन लगती थी, और रिटर्न सबमिट करने के लिए आयकर भवन से चर्चगेट तक लाइन लगती थी.
Yes, right.
Sir, then now the faceless assessment in first year or second year, it is difficult because the only communication gap something. But after 1 year or 2 years, or technology is going on, then it will be better, because now the scrutiny is only the issue based scrutiny.
हाँ, थोड़ा सा क्या है, we need to upgrade our skills and pool our resources.
Yes.
And make networking so that we can properly respond to the queries. But
Yes.
Otherwise, so much advantage there, like you will save the commuting time. आप भाईंदर से चर्चगेट जाने के लिए आपको कम से कम 2-2.5 घंटा spend करना पड़ेगा. That much time you can spend on the case.
Yes.
On the case, and घर बैठे बैठे आप जो है you upload the reply. So that will be a great advantage. So it's only a time whereby we become familiar with the process and be comfortable with the computer working. But I think that will prove to be good for the taxpayer.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody
Thank you.
for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, members. Thank you,
Thank you.
Vishnu ji. Thank you, Gupta sir. Thank you, all my
Nikunj,
team.
we have VCM tomorrow as well, so please announce that.
Yes. Members, please do note we have another VCM on a very important topic, clause-wise analysis of Form 3CD. So please do attend tomorrow also. The details shall be shared on the broadcast groups. So please take the maximum advantage. And one more thing, this video also, like our other earlier videos, will be uploaded on the YouTube channel along with the link to the materials. Okay, so you can directly go and access the video as well as the materials from there. So I guess that should be very helpful. With this, please do subscribe to the channel so that you get regular updates about it. With this, I thank all of you, all the dignitaries, Vishnu ji, Gupta ji, my team members, and CA Amit, my team members Ritu Agarwal and Divya ji.